All right, guys, I apologize. Rule number one of how to destroy a live audience is to take your best night and your most consistent time and change it by an hour or two. And I've done that tonight. I appreciate you guys accommodating me. We got some things to take care of here at Camp Coleman, and it necessitates going an hour or earlier than usual. So I appreciate you guys who tune in live when we go live. I guess now only on YouTube. Appreciate you guys accommodating me coming an hour early. To those of you who are catching late, you have no idea what I'm talking about, and that's fine. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Everything's going to be amazing. Everything's going to be just fine. Welcome in. I do have an interesting rabbit hole to run down today, and let me say this. It didn't start here, but it certainly amplified here on the Members Show Friday with Dre, and I wanted to make sure I brought it to the main show, the everybody show, the all-in show, so that everybody could kind of get an idea of where my head is on this. I've been swimming around. I've been doing my best to try to make sense of what this apparent connection is that I have real trouble tracking down. Who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why? But on the who, is there some connection to business? I know Candace several times has mentioned that that Charlie may have had a opportunity to go to the next level. That next level may have been outside of the TPUSA architecture, may have been something on his own. And then you start reconciling a set of facts. You start reconciling various facts. One fact is that that on the night or the day of or the day after Charlie Kirk was taken down, someone asked President Trump how he's doing, and he immediately brings up the ballroom. Well, it was a strange response. I can't think of frankly, a more heartless response or something that makes less sense unless there is some connection indeed to the ballroom and Charlie Kirk, so that when Trump hears Charlie Kirk, he thinks ballroom. Well, what could that connection be? So that swims around in my head. I don't know for a while. And then I come across the rumors that they're building a data center under the White House. And I thought, what is that? That is weird. Why would you need a data center under the White House? Well, so that swims around in my head for a little while. I can't make sense of that. And then I run across the research of the fantastic Dre of the Dre dossier, who says, no. In fact, they probably are building a data center under the White House, or it certainly looks like they could be building a data center under the White House. And that data center probably has the following list of vendors, because these are the people who are donating to the ballroom, and they have nothing to do with ballrooms. These are people that have stuff to do with data centers or constructions on large projects like that. So, it's just all swimming around. And then it dawns on me when I saw a video clip late last week, and we will play that clip tonight, and we'll play one more because it actually happened, believe it or not, more than once. It was a graduation speech, not Charlie Kirk's graduation speech that Dr. Erika hosted. No, not that graduation speech, but there was a graduation speech that was given over I want to say one day last week. It was a college commencement speech. And as I listened to the college commencement speech, I thought, wait a minute. Data center, AI, Charlie has opportunity to get taken to the next level, i.e. get very rich, Andrew Colvette missing out on millions. Like, it's all swimming around. I'm going to go through all this tonight. This is not me just talking extemporaneously and hoping you can crochet it together into some sort of a blanket or something. We will go through this in detail tonight, and I'll walk it out. I just want to kind of let you know how my mind is swimming around on this thing, because the topic of data centers has kind of become all the rage in political conversations. And if young conservative voters, particularly Gen Z or younger millennials, overwhelmingly turned against data center development, it would create profound obstacles for that industry. This is especially true in red states. Think Texas, Arizona, Ohio, or even purple states that have sort of become these targeted locations for these data centers. And the shift wouldn't instantly kill the sector. It's not as if young voters or conservative voters turned against data centers, they'd be like, well, we're not going to do data centers anymore. But it would dramatically slow the process. It would slow the development by slowing the permitting. It could be months or even years. And it could inflate the cost by potentially billions of dollars. And it would erode the political cover that these people have been operating under right now. Right now, there's this political cover that if you go into a red state, into a red county, you're probably going to get your data center. And it would force these multi-trillion dollar companies now to rethink their strategies. And so organizations like TPUSA or their sister company, Turning Point Action, they could play a pivotal role, believe it or not, in preventing or at least mitigating youth opposition. And they do it by, the structure they have in place, proactive engagement, messaging, grassroots leadership. And so these data centers, they already face this kind of NIMBY. We talk about NIMBY when we talk about building a landfill, for example, not in my backyard, or you want to build a nuclear reactor, not in my backyard, or a prison. A lot of people say we need more prisons. Okay, we're going to put one there, not in my backyard. NIMBY. And recent Gallup polling on these data centers, 7 in 10 Americans oppose new data centers in their local area. 7 out of 10, 70%. This is stronger, believe it or not, than opposition to nuclear plants. And these concerns center on really practical everyday things like massive electricity and water demands or rising utility bills. Who wants to pay more for power? Then you've got the noise, that constant hum that a lot of these data centers give off, or the light pollution, constant lights for acres and acres, maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of acres. Bright lights, noise, traffic. You got this loss of farmland and this nearly complete destruction of this rural character, this charm of the areas where a lot of these data centers are being built. And currently younger Americans, like below age, say 45, 40, maybe 35, 30, their support for these data centers is actually much higher than the older generations. So Gen Z, millennials, people up to, I think, what's a millennial now? 42, 44? They both show roughly like 50% approval ratings for building and constructing data centers in your area. Republicans slightly more favorable than Democrats overall. And even with those dynamics, half or more of the young conservative supporting the data centers, even with those dynamics in place, the opposition is already a nightmare when you go to construct a data center. I can give you a personal example. I was at a meeting not too terribly long ago, and a developer was talking about a project, and everybody was kind of looking at him like this. And he finally said, look, it's not a data center. And whew, the sigh of relief that came over the room. It was unbelievable. It was palpable. He's talking about the development. Everybody's tensely sitting up, looking in, leaning in. Is there going to be a data center coming here? And all of a sudden it was, no, guys, it's not a data center. So imagine what would happen if the young and conservative support flipped. Imagine if they no longer supported data centers at 50% or so. Imagine how devastating it'd be if either the young voters or the conservative voters or both not only stopped supporting them, but started opposing them. And the results would be catastrophic. The real estate developers, the data center developers, all the technological companies that are going to depend on these, the results would be absolutely catastrophic to the people that want to build these gigantic facilities. Think of states again, like Texas, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, I don't know, other kind of reddish or lean red states that are putting these data centers up, or at least trying to lure them. In those states, young conservatives are the future of the GOP. They're also the future of the legislatures, the local school boards, the zoning boards, the activist networks. And these are the states that have already actively courted these data centers. They've given them tax incentives, changes to zoning. They've even streamlined the permitting sometimes. And so if the youth or conservative ever flipped on the issue, it would pressure those same Republicans, those legislatures, those boards that have given all those incentives. They'd have to either, I don't know, impose moratoriums. Maybe they could try to hit them on stricter environmental reviews, impact fees, rate structures that reimburse local residents when their water bill or their power bill goes up or their water gets dirty. They have to come in and clean it up. And this is especially true. Consider rural areas. Rural areas in a red state, you don't run across many Democrats. No offense, Democrats, you just don't see many. They're occasional, about 5 or 10 here or there, spread out across like 7 counties. I mean, those are conservative strongholds. And those areas would all of a sudden see massive opposition at these zoning hearings. You know, when they put them in these rural areas, part of it is access to farmland. Part of it is you can't put them anywhere else. You know, the instinct among conservative voters is, oh, you want a massive new infrastructure project that's going to benefit trillionaires. Okay, sure. You can put it in my backyard. I would love that. I'm pro capital. Oh, it's going to impact me. That's okay. I vote conservative. Let's do it. It's like just pull the lever. Imagine if that switched. Imagine if that pull the lever went away. I want you to consider one example as kind of a microcosm of what I'm talking about. It's just from last month. April of this year, there was an election in a tiny little, I don't even know what you'd call it, a district, Arizona Salt River Project. Turning Point Action, that's the 501c4 political action arm of Turning Point USA. Turning Point Action got really involved in that election. And that involvement really caused a lot of head scratching. People couldn't really make sense of why they were doing it. Why is Turning Point USA this national sort of, we now view it as almost like an extension of the evangelical church? Why are they getting so involved in a utility election in rural Arizona? I mean, I saw stories and they made sense of, so-and-so, they took land from someone's dad or granddad 2 generations ago. I didn't know that I bought that. I mean, it made more sense than they just all of a sudden got excited about power rates. But I really couldn't make heads or tails of it. A lot of people couldn't. That's why people were scratching, reaching, trying to figure out, why is TP Action, Turning Point USA's political arm, why are they expending so much effort in a local utility race, a very small little utility district? These are positions almost nobody had ever heard of or even knew it exists. Nevertheless, Turning Point Action went into overdrive, and they wanted desperately to win this election. And they threw everything they had at the race behind a set of candidates that were considered kind of pro-development. In other words, they would sit on the power board or the utility district, but they would approve development, or they would approve maybe fossil fuel delivery, coal, gas, whatever they had to do. But whatever they would have to do to get this stuff through so that developers could come in and build these types of data centers. And they threw everything they had at the race. But it turns out most politics is local. And the race came down almost entirely to reliable power rates and baseload power. And the result was record turnout. Turns out, when you tell people that what is on the ballot is whether or not they're going to pay more for power and whether it's going to be reliable, they show up. That's something people tend to care about. They tend to care less about esoteric things that they can't really get a handle on. They tend to care a lot when you say, your power bill is currently $120 a month and you can barely feed your family. What are you going to do if it goes to $250? I should get out and vote, shouldn't I? Interesting. Well, the result was that TPUSA, or their candidates to TP Action, they lost most of the races. In fact, they got embarrassed. It wasn't even close. Because it turns out, when given the choice, most citizens won't turn out to the polls to vote against their own cheap electricity and clean water. So the side that wanted to implement policies that might limit the development, that's the side that won the majority. That was considered the liberal candidate. And this is a perfect and digestible example of what I'm talking about. Youth-driven mobilization. It can reshape turnout, even in a regulatory race, even a power utility race. But it also shows that young conservatives don't particularly want these data centers anymore, just like other hot political issues where young conservatives used to be reliably on that side. They are kind of shifting the other way now. And so if this becomes a trend, in other words, if young people or conservatives are sort of turned off by these massive data centers and they turn out to vote for anyone who says they will slow or stop their development, these developers are going to have the work cut out for them. They're going to have a real uphill battle, a massive problem getting these things approved. I think I have pulled up tonight. If not, I'll find it. A polling summary that I came across. I'm pretty confident I have it in the run. If I don't, I'll track it down. Because in that polling summary, what you're going to find is there's a real generational divide on these things, and it crosses political lines. In other words, if you tell, in a 50-50 race, if you tell people, we're going to oppose data centers, it's a 60-40 race for the candidate opposing data centers. It's a winning issue right now. It'll switch a race by 20 points overnight. Billions of dollars in these projects. I mean, billions and tens of billions of dollars have already been blocked or delayed just because local people came out and opposed it. And the estimates vary, but I mean, it's like the most reliable estimates are like between 60 and 150 billion dollars that these delays have costs. And the point is, it's massive. It's a massive impact. So conservative voters, young voters turning out against these issues in red states, it would be devastating. So companies, think of the companies that are really going to be the tenants or the owners of these: Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, Oracle, X. I guess XAI is building some of these, or at least leasing some of these. They face higher land costs and higher power costs, and not slightly higher. We're talking hundreds of billions of dollars higher, if not trillions of dollars over the next few years in delays and added cost. And it may sound counterintuitive. This is the part that's difficult for people to digest. Effective political messaging often depends on a complicated set of facts. In other words, when the facts are complicated, both sides of the issue, usually left and right in America is the way we think of issue division. But when the facts are complicated, both sides can use that complicated set of facts to really solidify their position among their voting base. Because what they do is you offer them a soundbite. It doesn't even have to really sum up the position, but at least it's effective at solidifying support and turnout. So think about things like the 2,000-page spending bills, these very complicated tax policy issues. Almost nobody on earth fully understands those issues. Probably not even the people who wrote them. It's so complex, you can't possibly figure it out. And so the voters on all sides, they sort of cling to these sound bites, and they find someone they trust. And if someone they trust says, here's our talking point on this, boy, they repeat it. Bang, 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 bang. They just run with it. And the more the soundbite is challenged, this is another truism in politics. If you have a soundbite, the more it's challenged, the more you dig in, because you feel like a family under attack. You're like a platoon of soldiers. You're taking fire from all the sides. Those are going to be your buddies for life. You get really dug in with people when you go through a war. So the more you take your soundbite from someone you trust and you start to deploy it in social media or in your neighborhood or in your city, or you start hearing it attacked on air, or you start feeling it attacked whenever you talk about it, the more you dig in and accept it and stick to it. Again, it sounds counterintuitive, but it's true. It's one of the most tried and true truisms in politics. And so with data centers, the problem is that the facts aren't very complicated at all. I mean, the facts are incredibly easy to digest. Data centers are a huge reason that the demand for energy and water is going up. When the demand for energy and water goes up, the quality and cost the quality goes down and the cost goes up. Okay, so if someone builds a data center in my neighborhood, it's going to cost me more for power, it's going to cost me more for water, and the water's not going to be as reliable, and the power's not going to be as reliable. Okay, well, I can digest that. All right, so because I can digest that, the political talking points don't really hit with me. Because it doesn't matter what you tell me about this is going to be good for our fight against China. To hell with you, buddy. I already pay too much for power and water. I don't want to pay more, and I certainly don't want power that's unreliable or water that's unreliable. So just build it somewhere else. You're not building it here. This is not a complicated subject. And because it's not complicated, it's almost impossible. These people are finding it to be almost impossible to send their minions out with these talking points. Oh, we're losing a race to China. Okay. Explain to me what that means. What does that mean? Oh, you don't want China to have the edge. Okay, go on. Go on. Like Japan had the edge in quality compact cars in the 80s. Yeah. And how did that work out for us? What's Japan doing today? And what are we doing today? That's interesting. It's not hard. It's not hard. Because it turns out the public doesn't like paying more for electricity and water. And these just aren't difficult facts to swallow. They're basically undisputed. So if someone takes the time to make young and conservative voters aware of these incredibly simple facts, the natural result, the obvious result, is going to be opposition. All of a sudden, you're going to oppose these things. And this is where organizations like TPUSA come in. Nobody doubts that TPUSA is, or at least TPUSA was under Charlie Kirk, a leading voice in mobilizing conservative youth on campus and on social media. Nobody doubts that. And they also have this built-in architecture, this already built-in architecture, this political architecture is designed to get out the vote. They call it chase the vote. It's so stupid. Chase the vote is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. But that doesn't surprise me that these morons came up with it. And they think it's so cute, too. They say it all the time. Oh, you got to hire people to chase the vote, you see. Yeah, chase the vote. As if that's somehow going to change the dynamics of having someone cast a ballot. No, it doesn't matter what you call it. But these data centers and AI, because they're already kind of defining economic issues of the day, and they likely are going to be the defining economic issues for the next several years or decades, I can imagine somebody approached Charlie Kirk about this issue. His support for data center development or data center construction or data center deployment, I can imagine they came to him and said, we either need you to support this, or if you don't support it, we need you to sit on the sidelines. Because if you turn against us, it's going to cost us, I can't even calculate it, hundreds probably of billions of dollars, maybe trillions of dollars, literally trillions of dollars in delays and opposition and legal fees and impact studies and environmental studies and everything else. Honestly, the number's so high, it probably can't really be calculated. And if somebody came to him and asked him that, I need you to sit on the sidelines, Charlie, or I need you to get behind it, Charlie, I cannot imagine that the person who would come to him and ask that wouldn't be coming with something in their hand. And how much would someone be willing to pay someone like Charlie Kirk to either win his support for data centers or at least ask him to sit on the sidelines and not talk bad about them? Millions? Hundreds of millions? If you give him $1 billion, it might be less than 1% of what it's worth. $1 billion. Every single person around Charlie Kirk potentially could have made generational wealth, generation-changing money. Talking about the PR people, his family, the executives at TPUSA, who, by the way, all conveniently happen to be independent contractors, so they happen to be able to make money on the side. There could have been a lot of money going around. But I also can imagine the panic that would have set in if Charlie had disagreed. Because the difference between those psychos and Charlie is Charlie genuinely seemed to care about young people and their prospects for success. Not just them as people, but them as potential fathers, mothers, members of the community, business owners, voters. Like, he genuinely seemed to care about them. It's why the shtick isn't working now, because they don't have anybody sitting under a tent in 91-degree weather in Utah. Because to sit under a tent in 91-degree weather in Utah and just talk to people who walk up and grab a microphone says, I care about you. They don't run those types of things anymore. What they run is these bigger events with fireworks and leather pants. That says, I don't care about you. You are supposed to care about me. And that's the difference. He cared about them. And a whole lot of people think these data centers are going to destroy the lives of young people, particularly those in high school, college, and just freshly out of college now. A lot of people think these data centers are going to destroy those people's lives. So unfortunately, he's not with us. We can't ask him. We can't give an answer to whether he was approached. We don't know what the offer was to take him to the next level. He's not around to ask him. But TPUSA, at least for now, is around. So in theory, TPUSA could still weigh in on the issue. And I guess in a sense, they already have. They tried it in the Salt River Project utility race over in Arizona. And by the way, they got their teeth kicked in. They were anything but successful. And that could probably be because success typically hinges on being authentic or some sort of authenticity. And while TPUSA might exist, I don't think anyone at TPUSA right now can be described as authentic. Certainly not Erika, Andrew, Blake, Tyler, the people we think of when we think of TPUSA. There may be some like accountant 3 in building 7 on the campus over there who's very authentic, might be the most authentic person you've ever met, but they don't let that person out in public very much, if at all, ever. It's not exactly a who's who of authenticity that's being heard from. And the most generous light, they're kind of weird. I mean, honestly, that's just the nicest thing I can say about them. I'm trying to be nicer these days. They're just weird. And I'm sorry, but it's true. They're weird. In a few minutes, I want to walk through something tonight. I want to walk through the connections in my mind that my mind raced to connect. Connections in my mind raced to connect. A brilliant way with words sometimes. But when that recent graduation clip went viral, and there was another one that went viral, and I hadn't really thought until that moment how TPUSA and Charlie Kirk and data centers and his death might all be related until I saw that clip. And so I do want to take a moment to pull that up. I appreciate you guys sitting with me as I rambled for, I don't know how long that was. I had to get it off my chest. I had this like for weeks, not weeks, probably a solid week. It's all I've thought about. Is there's got to be some connection. Oh yeah, here we go. So let me open the run here. I want to start with the very first mention that Candace Owens gave of the next level offer, because I want to make sure we're all clear of what was happening, and we all are clear of what she's told us to date, and what she claims has been confirmed by people like Andrew Colvett, Erika Kirk, and others. So I want to share this. These are not long clips. These are short clips. But this, I think, was the very first mention we could find. If I can get it to pull up. The very first mention of this next level opportunity. Because it's as important what she doesn't say as what she does say.
Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons, and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman, because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, his quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. This is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called, and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I got to tell you that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie.
All right. I wanted to open there for a reason. I'll pull this down for a second. I'll let the clip finish in a second. This is the longest of the clips I'll play tonight. But I wanted to open there for a reason, because of the way Candace sort of introduced the topic of the going to the next level in the context of Bill Ackman. And I can't say whether or not Bill Ackman ever confronted Charlie. I've never spoken to the man. But But that's the story that's been going around. And so we've been looking at it in the context of this support for Israel. In other words, if you get back on side on Israel, we'll give you a bunch of money. And if you don't, we'll pull money away from you. And I think it's important we go back to the beginning because it's possible we've sort of gotten off track because not Candace's fault, but it's sort of maybe we've been looking at this all wrong from the beginning. Maybe it was more, we got to get you back on track on that. Sure. But we think we can overcome you challenging us on Israel. We think we can keep you under control on that. What we can't have is you attacking us on data centers because we're going to make a bunch of money off this. And it's a critical part of the next 50 to 100 years of human development around the world. And we want to be the ones in charge of it. We can't have you fighting us on that. And so we're here to talk about this, but the next level may be something else. And I wanted to kind of put it in that context because it gave them an opportunity to see the damage that could be done to the brand. If you go back to 2022, support for Israel was pretty strong, particularly on the right, particularly among the young. Now, on the left, it kind of waxed and waned depending on what was going on in the world, but the right was pretty steady Eddie over the years. It really never kind of went anywhere. And then Charlie starts saying, hey, have you guys seen what they're doing over there? This doesn't look good. Ooh, the poll numbers start tanking. Now, can you imagine what would have happened if he'd have said the same thing on data centers? Ooh, start tanking. The problem is you don't need American support to launch a war against Iran. They're proving that right now. You can launch the war anyway. Just make up a reason, start throwing missiles. And everybody will say, no, Mr. President, don't do that. This is a bad idea. In fact, the vast majority of the country doesn't want this. We're launching anyway, big boy. Not so with data centers. It doesn't work that way. Because the war in Iran is over there. But it gave them an ability to see the damage losing someone like Charlie Kirk could do. And they thought, oh boy, we're barely hanging on this data center issue. Imagine if we lose him on that. And young people hate these things. I mean, despise them. We'll get to that in a minute. So I think it gives us context for potentially why this conversation is taking place. Let me let her go another minute or so here, and maybe you'll agree with me.
And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment. A ton of money. Maybe would fund it, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding.
So this was our introduction to the next level. This is how sometimes you go back and watch the original material. This was the introduction to the next level. They call him out. They're upset with him over the Israel stuff. It's a come to Jesus meeting, a re-education camp. At the end of the weekend, you get the call from the big guy, and he says, let me take you to the next level. I want to give you lots of money. Now, I don't know why every accent of mine sounds the same. Act like that was a good Hebrew accent. It was not. But what was the money for? It could not have been going to TPUSA because money going into a TPUSA by law can't benefit the people. You can only take reasonable salaries. You're not even allowed to take like excess benefits. So you have to pay taxes on. So where would the money be going? Well, let's let this chase continue. Let's keep looking because here's another time. I don't know if this is the next time she mentioned it, but here's another time where the story, I think, developed a little more and we get a little better understanding of what's happened.
Who is like pretending to be your friend? Hey, come to Israel. How do we know that happened? Because Bibi told us himself. So this is not in dispute, right? Bibi raced out of the gate to establish Charlie Kirk as like Israel's top goy. And he said probably too much. He said he called him 2 weeks ago and he invited him to Israel. And the part that he left out was Charlie declined. So when he got the phone call to go to figurative rehab, Charlie said, no, I'm good, actually. Bibi offered to fund Turning Point to the next level, okay? Andrew Colvett should be able to confirm that, yes or no. Don't dance around it. I don't like with dancing him and Alex said, oh, this, blah, blah. It's a yes. Okay. Take it to the next level. With what money, though, actually? It is relevant and it is true that Charlie did not know where the money was coming from.
So there's a little bit more information. Andrew can confirm it. Charlie didn't know where the money was coming from. What was the money? What was it going to be for? What's in exchange for? What is required of him to accept the money? What is the money for? And where's it going to go? Where's it coming from? So the story is developing. That was over 21 episodes. That's like 5 weeks of Candace. Now we fast forward like another 40 something episodes. So another couple of 3 months. Because we have to continue asking the question. Now, here's a little more development on that story. Because I think where this ends is where I'm headed. I don't know. Can't say it for sure, but here's the next update. This is episode 303 of Candace.
Met with him. You've personally met with Pierre. Erika, you've met with him in the wake of Charlie's death. I have, again, verifiable proof. So you can call your lawyers. You can spend another $1 billion on PR if you want to. Tell your lawyer to call my lawyer. I mean, you guys certainly have the money to do all of these things. It's not going to wipe away the truth. Okay. The truth is that there was a deal on the table with Pierre, who, yes, is from France, born in France. And that deal was worth billions. Not millions, billions, plural, billions of dollars.
So now we've got a number on it. Now we've got a number. So the story keeps developing. We had, well, Charlie potentially could have made millions. We don't know who the money's coming from. We don't know who can confirm it. Now, then a few episodes later, she said, well, Andrew can confirm it. We still don't know where the money's coming from. We don't know where it's going exactly. And now we say, oh, we believe it's coming from a guy named Pierre Falcone. He's from France. He did some stuff in Algeria years ago. Now, it's important to know what Pierre Falcone does. He's an infrastructure guy. That's what Pierre Falcone does. He's an infrastructure guy. In other words, he builds out like whole cities. Now, this Pearson Capital Group that Pierre Falcone runs, they're very kind of secretive. They don't tell you exactly what they do. It's a private group. They don't know, have to send out prospectus or 10K or anything like that, 8K. But they do kind of, occasionally, but they'll build out like whole cities, whole metropolises, 600,000-700,000 people move into an area that he has developed. It's a massive, massive facility. And so if he's involved, this is not like residential real estate. These people are not building houses. These people are not building, a high rise or two. That's not what Pierre Falcone does. Pierre Falcone does utilities, infrastructure, roads, bridges, like the whole shebang. That's what he does. And so if he's building infrastructure, if he's an infrastructure guy, a massive investment guy, and the deal is worth billions of dollars, what the hell we're running the funnel down to where there's only so many things this could be about. There's only so many things this could be about. And it has to be, keep in mind, it has to be about something Charlie would say no to. And Charlie made a lot of money. So it's not like Charlie was gun shy when it came to making money. He was rich. He was rich. Like I said, I told you, I have somebody that knows him who said conservatively, he probably made $25 million a year his last few years. Conservatively. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told by someone who allegedly should know. And so it's not like he was allergic to large deals. It's not like he was allergic to insider deals and having access because of who he was. That's not to say he's a bad person. Profit's not a dirty word. He's not a bad guy because he was cut in on some deals. But what I'm telling you is there's something going on with Pierre Falcone, who makes gigantic investments of gigantic infrastructure projects. We're talking, again, water, power, highways, buildings, lights, the whole shebang, gas, all of it. That's what he builds. Go look him up. I did. There's something going on where Pierre Falcone would be making an investment in the billions and billions and billions of dollars. And Charlie was going to be cut in. And the question is why? Pierre Falcone not from our greatest ally. So it can't be a greatest ally issue. That doesn't mean they wouldn't benefit from it. I'll talk about that tonight. It might be a longer show than you're accustomed to. So I'm only like 4% of the way through my run so far. My open went, I just extemporaneously just sort of vomited a bunch of stuff out into the camera, so we're a little behind. But this should be good when we put it all together. And so there's one more clip I want to play of hers, because I think it gives us even more detail about what may potentially have happened. And this is, I think, the biggest key to me of what potentially happened. This is from episode 333. This was like a week or two ago. This is Candace giving the final piece that she's given us to date of this taking it to the next level deal.
Yeah, Andrew told, allegedly, I'll say allegedly here, told his close orbit of family and friends back in Santa Barbara that he lost money. He lost millions when Charlie said no to taking Turning Point USA to the next level. And we had wondered way back when. I said, how's that possible for a PR guy? You're a PR guy. How could you somehow be making money if Charlie said yes, but I was thinking Turning Point USA. I forgot, but Andrew is not just some PR guy. He has a stake in Charlie's media empire. So was he plausibly referring to money which was going to be routed and offered via Clock Tower? Because we kept asking the other question, how was Bibi Netanyahu going to get all this money in Turning Point USA?
So Candace made a turn there that I wouldn't have taken. The question is where's this money going? How is it going to end up in Andrew's pockets? Allegedly, in her opinion. How's the money going to end up in Andrew's pocket? Because that sounds like what he's saying. If she's to be believed that she talked to people who knew Andrew, and Andrew said, I lost millions of dollars when Charlie turned it down. Well, where would his millions of dollars have come from? Well, again, what does he do? He's a PR guy. What needs PR right now that involves billions of dollars of infrastructure? Because that's what Pierre Falcone does. You got to put all the pieces together. You can't run down a rabbit trail and leave some of this out. If you have a guy who builds massive facilities on the size of cities, think like this Utah data center that's 2 or 3 times the size of Manhattan, that uses more electricity on a daily basis than the entire state of Utah. Think of what kind of person would have to build something like that. Well, a Pierre Falcone might be that kind of guy. And what do you need in order to get this done? You need PR. You need to change local zoning boards. You need to get out and elect people that are favorable to your position. They've given us all the secrets right here. They've already told us what it is. Go back to the Salt River Project in April of last year. The Salt River Project in Arizona that I talked about when I was rambling for 30 minutes before the show really got started. The Salt River Project, the goal of that was to elect people who would be more favorable to those types of projects in Arizona, in that particular district. That's the goal, allegedly, in my opinion. Get a mix of power that's more reliable that data centers can use. You would need PR because the PR situation right now for data centers is not going well. You would need infrastructure. You would need electoral infrastructure. You would need electoral infrastructure to get out, knock on doors, send mail, make phone calls, text messages, polls, all the things it takes to get people elected. I used to run a political consulting company. It's not just hire somebody and they put up some TV ads. It's part of it, but it's not all of it. And in a lot of cases, it's not it at all. Some of the smaller races, that wouldn't work at all. You've got to go talk to people on their doorstep. You've got to get them mail, effective mail in their hands they can read. You've got to know how to get an email they'll open. You've got to know how to get a text message they'll respond to. There's your Tyler Boyer component. The PR, there's your Andrew component. So you're starting to realize that everyone in Charlie's orbit would have made money on this deal. And Charlie turned it down. Said no, according to Candace. Said no, I'm not in. Why might he not have been in? Well, let me show you a couple of clips here that give you an idea of why he might not have been in. This first one is from the University of Central Florida. The audio is not fantastic, but what you're listening for are boos or hisses, heckles. I don't even know this woman's name. Does she have a name up here? Can I even look at it? Gloria Caulfield. She's the vice president of Tavistock Development Company. What does Tavistock do? I should have looked all this up before the show started. Tavistock Development Company, cutting edge homes to tomorrow's innovation hubs. They build designs for the future of living, technology, and human experience. So this woman comes in. She's going to talk to the best and brightest of our next generation, the largest state university in the state of Florida, which is a great school, by the way. UCF is a fantastic school. She's there talking to the school. She's talking to the graduates. She's given the commencement speech. And she thinks, I know, because she's in this boomer mentality of data centers and AI and development. Oh, it's going to be great. Well, the boomers love it. You know why? Because it replaces labor. It's the same reason they loved outsourcing. Why would I pay an American $100,000 a year when I can pay someone in New Delhi 12? That's 88 that I get to keep. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Why am I going to give 100 to this guy? He just graduated from college 3 years ago. He's some engineer. I can outsource it to Bangladesh, and I can pay someone 12 grand a year to do the same or better work. Why would I pay you 100? Even if it's inferior work, I could hire 5 of them for one of you and still keep 40 grand for myself. This is the mentality she brings to new graduates. Listen to how it goes over. See if you might get an idea of why Charlie would say no to something like this, considering the people in the seats is his constituency, not her.
Now, that said, we are living in a time of profound change. That's an understatement, right? Profound change. Change is exciting, very exciting. And let's face it, change can be daunting. The rise of artificial intelligence is the next industrial revolution. Oh, whoa. What happened? Okay, I struck a chord.
The rise of the AI is the next industrial revolution. The crowd boos, almost to a man in the crowd. They all boo, and she is shocked. What happened? Well, what happened is you just told them they don't mean anything. And that's a tough message for a 22-year-old person with $150,000 in student loan debt to accept. The rise of AI is the next industrial revolution. Boo! We love AI where I work. It's amazing where I work. What happened? You see her looking to the men beside her for help. I'm just saying, guys, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. But yeah, she said, oh, I struck a chord. Yeah, you did strike a chord. You struck a big chord, a massive chord. She continues. Stupidly, she doesn't realize how poorly this is going over, and she keeps talking.
May I finish?
She said, may I finish? And the crowd said, no. No.
Only a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives.
And the crowd goes wild. Only a few years ago, AI was not a factor in our lives. Woo! Woo! Houston, we got a problem. We've lost the young people on this issue. Wait till they find out where AI lives. Wait till somebody goes to these people and says, you know those massive data centers they're building? You know what they do in there? Yeah, they train AI models to replace you. Remember that $200,000 that you got to become a master's in electrical engineering? We don't need you anymore. We don't need, whoop, 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 whoop. We just whip up Claude and Claude will spit out an answer and you become basically irrelevant. Remember that computer coding degree you just got? Management information systems, you paid 120 grand fresh off the shelf. We don't need you anymore. We have a $60 a month subscription to a computer program. And we're going to use that instead. Wait until you tell that person, oh, and do you see that giant facility they're trying to get approved across town? That's where it's going to go. Those are the places that are replacing your job. See, you would have had a job. Yeah, you were trained. You know all the stuff. You got straight A's. You had high test scores. You sat for the PE exam. Everything was going your way. You got all the certificates. You volunteered at all the right places. You're very competitive on paper. Unfortunately, that guy works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 150 times the speed you do. And so we don't need you anymore. Yeah, sorry about it. Sorry about it. Yeah, there's an overnight stocking position hiring if you need it. It pays $12.50 an hour, but I mean, you can get up to 13 if you stay for 6 months and don't miss work any days. Yeah, it's better than nothing. Better than a swift kick to the teeth. Barely though. I get it, barely, but it's better. It's better. That's what you're dealing with. Well, so when I saw that clip the first time, I thought, oh, we've got a problem on our hands. We've got a real problem on our hands. And then I saw another clip, believe it or not, of another speaker making the same mistake at a different graduation. This one a little closer to home for TPUSA. This one was at the University of Arizona. And this is a pretty fancy graduation speaker. This is Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google. The former CEO of Google, you might think, well, a guy like that, surely he will get a better response. Well, let's find out.
Every hospital, every laboratory, every person, and every relationship you have. I know what many of you are feeling about that. I can hear you. There is a fear. There is a fear in your generation that the future has already been written, that the machines are coming, that the jobs are evaporating, that the climate is breaking, that politics is fractured, and that you are inheriting a mess that you did not create. And I understand that fear. It's rational. And it's amplified every day by social media platforms with algorithms that have learned with great precision that fear earns clicks and that anxiety drives engagement. But I want to say something to you this evening as clearly as I can. To speak of the future as though it has already been decided is to surrender the one thing that actually matters. You are surrendering your agency. The future does not simply arrive. It gets built in laboratories, in dormitories, in startups, in classrooms, in legislators. And the people building it will be you and people like you. The question is not whether AI will shape the world. It will. The question is whether you will help shape artificial intelligence. We do not know. We do not know.
And then they boo him. And then they boo him. Now, keep in mind, it was basically national news a few days ago when the lady at Central Florida brought up AI and everybody booed. The former CEO of Google reads the room and says, I'm going to go with it anyway. That's going to be the topic of my commencement speech. Guys, do you see the problem? Do you see how valuable a guy like Charlie Kirk would have been on your team? A guy that would have gone out ahead of you before you give the commencement speech and said, hey, this AI stuff, don't worry about it. We're going to find, look, we're going to work alongside it. It's going to be fine. Don't have a fear in it. We're going to be good. That video goes on for another 5 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing because it's too long and this sounds bad in my ears. I can't imagine what it sounds like to you guys. But he goes on for another 5 minutes where he keeps trying to come back to the AI issue and they keep booing louder and louder and louder and louder. And so we have a problem on our hands. We have a problem on our hands if you are one of these developers putting this AI stuff together. If you're one of these developers that want to build these data centers, if you're one of these developers that need elections in local utility districts, if you need messaging in certain areas where you want to build these things, or you just want to calm down the general population in general, or the young population in general, we have a real problem if you're those people. And what you needed was a singular figure of tremendous influence among young people who goes door to door or campus to campus talking to people. And as the AI issue comes up in his speeches, he speaks in favor of it, or he at least mitigates the damage that's being done out there in the public on this issue. That's sort of the problem. So the AI build-out is massive. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. This is from a year ago. This is a headline from a year ago about Oracle. Oracle is one of the largest AI data center companies. Oracle will build more cloud infrastructure data centers than all of its competitors combined, says Larry Ellison. More cloud infrastructure data centers than all of its infrastructure competitors combined. Oracle's co-founder and CTO made the bold claim on an earnings call, and then it goes through their numbers. And so you're talking about a lot of building. Look here. Earlier this week, reports emerged that Oracle was looking up for up to 5 gigawatts of data center capacity. That's like a medium-sized state. That's what they use every day. 5 gigawatts. That's what this one data center was going to use to support OpenAI's workloads, which seem to be separate from the Stargate project. We'll talk about Stargate in a second. Stargate been in the works since January this year, though even in the most recent Oracle earnings call, the company was yet to officially sign a contract for the deal. So that's just one of the things they were talking about a year ago, was a 5 gigawatt data center. Now, what is Stargate? Let's talk about that for just a moment. Open this up. This is from the Wikipedia, so right off the pages of the most pro data center side imaginable. It's an LLC that was incorporated in Delaware, multinational AI company with OpenAI, that's ChatGPT, SoftBank, Oracle, and an investment firm, MGX. This is from Abu Dhabi. And they plan to invest up to $500 billion in AI infrastructure in just the next 3 years. Think of how much money that is that they're going to be investing, and think of how much these delays would cost them. They want to do this in the next 3 years. It's been planned since 2022, formally announced on January 21, 2025, the day after Donald Trump took office at noon on January 20th, the very first full day in office, Donald Trump announces a private LLC's plan to spend $500 billion in developments. The term Stargate used by OpenAI and Microsoft in 2024 to designate an earlier supercomputer project. Here's your financing. Initial investment of $100 billion, plans to increase to $500 billion by 2029. Now you have infrastructure development and projects. You look at where these projects are going. Shackelford County, Texas, Doña Ana County, New Mexico, Lordstown, Ohio, Milam County, Texas, and a Midwestern United States site whose location is not yet publicly known. 7 gigawatts of planned capacity, $400 billion in investments over the next 3 years. My friends, these are massive figures. Massive figures. We talked about the Utah infrastructure project, the one that was everyone's talked about it, 40-something thousand acre plan, 2 or 3 times the size of the island of Manhattan in New York, basically what most of us think of as New York City, basically New York City without the surrounding boroughs. 2 or 3 times that big, single project. And the face of that project is a guy named Kevin O'Leary. He was on Tucker Carlson's show here recently. He had a ridiculous hat on. I'm not sure why he was wearing that in an interview, but he was. Now, I want to show you real quickly a weird connection between Kevin O'Leary and Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's widow, Erika Kirk, retains the attorney who was the late husband's friend, a South Florida attorney who is a friend of political activist Charlie Kirk, will be her lawyer. This is Jeff Nyman, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He was granted the motion to represent Erika as the victim representative in Utah. So keep that name in mind. Jeff Nyman, friend of Charlie Kirk, lawyer to Erika Kirk. You remember when she hired him? We thought, why is she hiring a lawyer from South Florida? That's weird. And then we find out he actually he wasn't just a friend of Charlie Kirk. He actually was Charlie Kirk's personal lawyer in a case in Washington, D.C. This was relative to the January 6th kerfuffle. There he is right there for Charles Kirk. Jeff Nyman, one of his lawyers right there. So Jeff Nyman has represented Charlie Kirk. Jeff Nyman has represented Erika Kirk. Got a wrong Lincoln. And Jeff Nyman is representing also. Oh, I got to have a subscription for that. Hang on. I think it's in this one. This isn't the article I was trying to open, but Florida attorney who was Charlie Kirk's friend retained by widow in Utah murder trial. Anyway, he represented Kevin O'Leary too. I can't find the link to it for some reason. Let me find it. I want to make sure I'm right about it. Yeah, Jeff Nyman has frequently represented Kevin O'Leary in various legal, business, and regulatory matters, includes formation, compliance, and legal defense of the North Dakota Wonder Fund and investment fund. So here is, I guess, where I like to pull stuff up on screen so that people can't get all upset with me. Anyway, just trust me. He represents Kevin O'Leary too. So now you have this weird connection. Between Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk, and Kevin O'Leary. And the connection runs through the attorney, Kevin Nyman, who is Kevin O'Leary's business lawyer on these complicated deals. A very strange lawyer to get to be your victim representative in Utah courts. Why not just go get a local lawyer in Utah? Why do you need that guy? Oh, does this one have him? Daisy, did you drop this in? Yeah. Anyway, hold on, waiting for her to write a note there. So you have this weird connection. So we know Kevin O'Leary is leading up the data center project. We know his lawyer on a lot of issues, a lot of complicated business issues, is Nyman. We also know Erika Kirk is a victim representative. It's a very small role. Most people don't have a lawyer. If they do, maybe one local lawyer or somebody who just kind of tells them procedurally. But no, she goes and gets the same lawyer Kevin Nyman has. So we now have additional sort of connections to the industry for some reason. So now let's look at the crossover here, because we mentioned Larry Ellison earlier. Larry Ellison's the head of Oracle. What else do we know about Larry Ellison? This is Larry Ellison's political involvement. Well, we see here in 2017, just a few years ago, Larry Ellison donated $16.6 million to the Friends of the Israel Defense Forces, saying, since Israel's founding, we have called on the brave men and women of the IDF to defend our home. This was the largest donation in the organization's history. So he refers to it as our home. He also helped fund an archaeological excavation project in East Jerusalem that was criticized by Palestinians. A $1 billion lawsuit was filed in 2019 against several supporters, including Ellison, accusing them of conspiring to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from Israeli-occupied territories, funding genocide. I mean, this is, Ellison lobbied mogul Arnon Milchan to drop his lawyer so that the current prime minister of our greatest ally could hire the lawyer for one of his corruption cases. He offered the current prime minister of our greatest ally a board seat at his multi-trillion-dollar company that's made him the top 6 wealthiest people in the world. And the same year, the prime minister of our greatest ally and his family vacationed on an island, a Hawaiian island, the whole island that Larry Ellison owns in Hawaii. So that's what we know about Larry Ellison. Oh, that's interesting. What about the connection to that particular country and AI? Is there any connection there that we see? We might see some crossover here where some previous threads that people have been pulling on might have some application in the data world. Israeli pioneers the future of AI with data center development. They've taken strides in becoming a global leader in AI with a pioneering infrastructure strategy that could see the startup nation excel in harnessing the technology. NVIDIA, the world's most valuable company, has heaped praise on Israel's strong AI ecosystem, highlighting that the development of the firm's new supercomputer, the Israel One, that's the name of their new supercomputer, is in the north of the country and could have a very deep impact. Wang suggested the development of the supercomputer will help NVIDIA become a service provider and regional cloud. So there's obviously a great commitment there. We have here I don't want to play the clip because I don't know what's behind it, but I can show you the tweet. The prime minister of our greatest ally just announced this summer every Israeli kid from kindergarten to high school gets special AI training. What's his goal? Make them the best in the world at ChatGPT, Claude, and next level AI even before their final exams. So there's something in the works with our greatest ally, with AI and supercomputers, with data centers. There's something in the works here, and the same people who are supporting it there seem to be supporting it here. We're talking NVIDIA, Larry Ellison, Oracle. And so now we go back to threads we were pulling on very, very early on in the Charlie Kirk investigation. Now we may look at them in new light. Let's see if we can look at these in a slightly new light. Do you remember this? The text message from Charlie Kirk the night before he died, or the afternoon before he died. Just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Ugh, says the response. Charlie Kirk, Jewish donors play into all these stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Interesting. What about this tweet from Harrison Smith? This was just under a month before Charlie passed away. This is Harrison Smith here. He's now turned over the name of this person who said this, I believe, to federal authorities. That's what he said on a space not terribly long ago. I'm not going to name names, but I was told by someone close to Charlie that Charlie thinks Israel will kill him if he turns against them. That was August 13, 2025. That was the day before the donor summit kicked off in Aspen. That he thought they would kill him if he turned against them. Then we have this Ian Carroll tweet. It was one of the very earliest tweets on this issue that started people down this rabbit hole basically the day of, or the day after Charlie Kirk passed away. Yesterday was a turning point for Israel-U.S. relations. Less than 24 hours and the internet already figured out who the most likely culprit was. He was their friend. He basically dedicated his life to them, and they murdered him in front of his family. That was Ian's not so subtle dig at who he thought was responsible. And now, let me show you this. This is interesting. This is one of the more interesting polls I've run across in a long time. I love looking at polls, by the way. I used to run polls for customers. I used to help construct them. I would love reading through them. This is just the summary here. The question here is, young Republicans are diverging from party leadership on our greatest ally. Look at some of these numbers. In a primary between two Republicans. So just imagine two Republicans in a primary. We have one right now going on in Kentucky with Thomas Massie and Ed Galbraith. 52% of Republican voters and 59% of Republicans under the age of 45 would prefer a nominee who supports prioritizing lower prices for Americans over funding Israel. Given the choice, just 23% of Republicans under the age of 45 and 31% of Republicans overall prefer a nominee who supports unconditional funding for our greatest ally. Just 23% of young Republicans, just 31% of Republicans overall. In a general election where both the Republican and Democrat support unconditional funding for Israel, in that situation, just 4% of Republicans said that they would vote for the Democrat. So, not, 4%, that's basically nothing. But watch what happens. This is a Republican and Democrat vote. 17% of Republicans, including 1 in 4 Republicans under the age of 45, will switch and vote for the Democrat if the Republican is spouting this nonsense about our greatest ally. 1 in 4 Republicans will vote for the Democrat. Young Republicans. 1 in 6 Republicans overall will go vote for the Democrat on this issue. All other things being equal, I'm voting for the Democrat. Even if things aren't equal on this one issue, if they say the wrong thing, I'm voting for the other side. That's a massive number. That's a number you can't win with. That's a number that's going to get Republicans absolutely slaughtered in the midterm elections in 2026. And they're going to come back and they're going to blame Tucker Carlson. And they're going to blame Candace Owens. And they're going to blame Nick Fuentes. And they're going to blame Alex Jones. They're going to blame Megyn Kelly. They've got no one to blame but themselves. Look at that number. No one to blame but themselves. Watch this. Netanyahu's net approval rating among Republicans who normally watch Fox News, plus 49. Meaning it's like 75-25. 75% favorable, 25% negative among people who regularly watch Fox News. As soon as you take Fox News out of the equation, it drops to plus 11. 38% swing, 38-point swing. All you do is turn off Fox News and 38% of your support evaporates. You go to the young people who do not regularly watch Fox News, it goes to -8. Among young people who don't watch Fox News, his support evaporates and goes negative. It still does have a little bit of a plus 18. It's a 26% shift among young people once you introduce Fox News. I'm just telling you guys, it's bad out there. It's bad out there. So it's an option. It's an option. So what's the Utah connection, right? Why do this in Utah? Well, obviously we know that Charlie Kirk passed away in Utah. Well, is there a message behind that? Well, don't forget the Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank. And keep in mind, Shark Tank is a show produced by Mark Burnett. We talked about that a few weeks ago. That's where Andrew Kovac got his start. That's where Johnny Moore got his start, with Mark Burnett. Another guy who got famous because of Mark Burnett, Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, wants to build a massive $100 billion data center in Utah. So all these things are connected. And so, yeah, I do see a connection. I do see a connection. I can't state with certainty who killed Charlie Kirk, how, and why. But on the who issue, I feel like we've discounted the corporate side in favor of a government, military, or an intelligence side. And it's a massive mistake, and I'm embarrassed I made it. Because the government, the military, intelligence, the military, all the military is the security wing of corporatism. That's all it is. Like if you run a company, and or if you're a famous person, right? You got security that sits outside your house, and you got security that follows you and takes you when you go do speeches. That's your security wing. It's just a cost you build in. And corporations don't have that cost. They want to go open a new market in a new country. They just send in the U.S. military. We don't want to pay that much for those minerals that they have. Okay, we'll send in the U.S. military. We'll just take them. Oh, we have shipping lanes that are shut down. That's okay. We'll put some aircraft carriers over there, some battleships, shoot some missiles. We'll open it back up for you. You don't have to worry about that cost. We'll shoulder that cost. We, the taxpayer, will shoulder that cost to open that shipping lane for you. That's all it is. Military is just the security wing of corporatism. Intelligence is just the propaganda wing of corporate America. Global corporatism, but corporate America, sure. That's all it is. It goes out and it foments problems in other areas. It sends messaging out ahead of your product or your service or your shipping or your logistics. And it can do some bad guys. It's like the mafia. I mean, they come in town and they say, it's a nice company you have there. It's a shame if something happened to it. And the government itself, all it does is serve to create a local market in addition to deploying the military and the intelligence out there. So, I mean, we're completely beholden to these people. We've learned since we were little kids. In fact, I took the U.S. citizenship test. I got 19 out of 20. I missed the last one, but only because I'm not becoming a citizen. I had no idea what the one duty was. That's the question I missed, the last question. The one duty upon becoming a citizen is to follow the laws of the United States. I didn't realize that. Makes sense. I just never heard it. I got 19 of the other 20 questions, and it's so funny. One of the questions is, what is the economic system of the United States? And the answer, of course, is capitalism. You say capitalism, you get credit, you move on to the next question, but that's not true. It's not capitalism at all. capitalism would be if this data center wanted to come into your community, they'd have to convince the community that you guys would sell them the land and you would get together and find a way to provide water and gas and power and roads and bridges. But that's not what happens. They just come in and take it. It's happening in Georgia right now. They just condemn the land. They turn it over to a private industry. That's a weird concept. Like we understand condemnation when it comes to building a new interstate, right? We have a beautiful interstate system, mostly beautiful interstate system throughout this country. Most of the roads are in okay condition, pretty good condition. You can drive 70 miles an hour across most of this country. Slow down a little bit in the cities, but by and large, you can move pretty well. And it helps with shipping and it helps with travel and all that. And we understand that in order to do that, some of this land had to be condemned. People wouldn't voluntarily sell it. So as a community, we said, hey, it's going to benefit us as a community. It's going to be owned by the government. So we're going to take it from you. We're going to compensate you fairly under the takings clause of the United States Constitution. We're going to compensate you for it, but it'll be owned by the public trust. Well, a few years ago, they changed the law. The Supreme Court changed the law. And they said it doesn't have to just be for the public good. It can be for private industry. The government can now come in and condemn your property, your farm, and sell it to a data center. You know that? They can condemn your land and sell it to a data center. I bet most of you didn't know that. That's true. It's happening right now in Georgia. And so the government no longer works for us. It's never longer of, by, and for the people. It's bought and paid for by rich, billionaire class, wealthy donor class who give hundreds of millions. Look what happened to the Thomas Massey's congressional seat in Texas. There's a foreign casino owner who's upset with the voting pattern of an American congressman. And so she's buying the seat. She's funding herself to the tune of millions and millions and millions of dollars. Well, she and a few buddies. But they're putting in millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's one of the most, I think it's one of the most expensive primary races in American history. $25 million or so they're spending to unseat this guy, Thomas Massey in Kentucky. And every time Thomas Massey does one of these money bombs, one of these rich people just writes a check to offset it. So if you give Thomas Massey $2,000, the rich person's going to give the other person $2,000. Or they'll put it into a PAC, and the PAC will spend the $2,000 on behalf of the rich person against Thomas Massey. That's what's happening in this country. This is a foreign-born, foreign-aligned, foreign-allegiant casino boss who's funding the political future of a single congressional seat outside of Cincinnati, Ohio, Northern Kentucky. That's what's happening in these United States. So when you take the citizenship exam, you say, oh, what is the economic structure of America? And you say, oh, it's capitalism. That's not true, because that's not capitalism. Capitalism is not, I've got a farm. I've had it in my family since the 1800s. I want to pass it down to my kids. We raise cows, we raise goats, we raise tomatoes, we raise okra. We stretch out, we watch the sunrise. We buried Fido back there under the oak tree. We used to ride horses through these pastures. Well, that's a nice history. Oracle's going to own it now. So could you get out of the way before we bulldoze your entire life's work? The life's work of multiple generations of your family. We're going to bulldoze it. We're going to level the farmhouse that your great-grandmother was born in. We're going to bulldoze it. And we're going to put up a turbine, a methane-powered turbine. That's what we're going to do with your house. Oh, you don't have to sell it to us voluntarily. This is capitalism, lady. We're just going to take it from you. We're going to get the government to take it from you. Yeah, sorry. Got bad news. They're going to do the same thing in Ohio. They're going to do the same thing in Utah. They're going to do the same thing in Texas. They're going to do the same thing in Arizona. They're doing the same thing all over the country. This is the country you live in. This is the economic system you now reside under. It's not what we were taught in elementary school. This is what we were told happened in the Soviet Union in the 80s when I was growing up. Hey, Mom, why is Rocky fighting the Russian? Why is that a big deal? Well, son, let me tell you about the Soviet Union. You grow up over there and you say the wrong thing, they don't let you speak in public. They'll put you in prison. Really? That's terrible. What happens here? They'll send the FBI to your door if you put the wrong thing on Facebook. Yeah, they'll just ban you from the public marketplace of ideas. Well, that happens here. Say the wrong thing, you get taken off all the social media. And they'll just take your property. They can come and take your house whenever they want it. Well, the same thing happens here. Happening in Georgia right now. They just take your property. They don't care who's buried on it. They don't care what memories you had. They don't care what plans you had for it. It's theirs now. You live somewhere else now. It doesn't matter that you don't know how to live anywhere else. You better learn quick. That's capitalism. And I look at a system like that, and I think, what if there was one guy? Hear me out. What if there was one guy who had the adoration of millions of young people? These young people that they're struggling to earn their support from? The young people who are turning against our greatest ally, who are turning against these data centers, who are turning against any Republican who supports our greatest ally, who are turning against all these things. What if there was one guy, and if we just removed him and we installed, let's say, a solid 6, maybe a 6.5. Yeah, she got a little chubby face. She got a little chubby fingers, but she doesn't look bad. She got fake blonde hair. It's long. Could use a brush, but it's not bad. Kind of walks like a man, but that's okay. That's okay. Some people like that. What if we just installed her to run around and we used our propaganda wing, the U.S. media, the intelligence agencies? What if we just propped her up? But she said all the things we wished he would have said. Well, what if we could get her to come out in favor of our greatest ally while he was bothering us? What if we could get her organization under her leadership to come out against Thomas Massey, who we're trying to get rid of? What if we could install her and get rid of Thomas Massey? Get rid of opposition to the Iran war. Get rid of opposition to data centers. Get rid of support for our young people who are being devastated by all these policies like forever war, increased energy cost, increased infrastructure cost, increased power, increased gas, increased water. What if we could get rid of that guy and just put his widowed wife in there, and she just carried our water for us? Well, we understand that's going to be a problem because she's very unlikable. She's borderline low IQ and very unlikable. And she sounds a little bit like a Valley girl. So we're going to have to construct some artificial things along the way to try to get some sob story to get people to support her. Yeah, I can see that happening. If you go into some cities, there are places you're not supposed to go at night, or maybe even during the day. Besides a town, you guys know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but you go into even Nashville, basically every major city, Cincinnati, Louisville, Atlanta, Houston, Memphis. I'm trying to just go around the map here. Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis. There are parts of town you're not allowed to go in as a middle class or better human being. White, black is irrelevant. That doesn't matter. They can smell it out. The locals can smell it out that you've got a little money. Then you're in danger. You're in danger. Because if you have on a decent pair of shoes, you're wearing the wrong kind of jewelry, they might sense you have some cash in your pocket, or at least access to cash, and you could be in grave danger. I remember interviewing a chief of police. This would probably been 10 years ago or more. I remember interviewing the chief of police of a city that had a lot of areas like this. And I said, Chief, what keeps you up at night? And he thought for a second. He said, you know what keeps me up at night? He said, there's a significant percentage of our young people in this very city. This was on the radio in that city. He said, there's a significant percentage of young people in this city. And by young, I mean like 13 to 19, who will kill you for $5, take your $5, go buy a hamburger, and never think about you again. It will not weigh on them. That's what keeps me up at night. I think there are people like that in higher places than the inner cities. I think there are people like that in government, in the military, in intelligence communities, inside the United States and outside the United States. They'll kill you. They'll go eat a hamburger and they'll never think about you again. They don't need your $5. It's worth more than that. They need you to stop opposing them. And if you don't, you're gone. We've all heard the stories of the investigative reporters whose cars blow up or drive down the road too fast and careen out of control and the brakes fail. We've all heard the stories of the suspicious people falling from parking garages and oh, he must have been depressed. He jumped out of a 73rd story building. I don't think he was. I don't think he was. I think he was thrown out of it. We've all heard the stories. We're littered with the stories. I mean, there's a reason the word Arkanside means something. It's just a foolish portmanteau. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not a real word, except it means something, and it's become a word. It's a combination of the words homicide and Arkansas. There's a reason there's the Clinton body count, and they're not talking about Bill's exploits. I'm talking about the people who have had misfortune who surround the family. And if you just think it's these ones we know about, you're out of your mind. There's the missing scientists. We don't know where they are. There's all kinds of things like this. This world has psychopaths in it. And unfortunately for Charlie, he was opposed to some of them. And also unfortunate to Charlie, he had the wealth, fame, and power to do something about his opposition to them and become a real problem. And so I don't want to close this chapter into the data centers and into a potential connection between these data centers and Charlie Kirk. I'm not saying that's why he's dead. Just like I'm not saying it was an exploding necklace or an exploding microphone. Just like I'm not saying it was anybody on his security team or anybody at TPUSA. Just like I'm not saying it was anything. My job here is not to say. Let me give you an example of why I don't say. Let's see if I can find. You know, someone asked me, I don't remember if it was on this show or a member show or what it was. Why is it that I haven't had on Jordan Henshaw? And I liked you. I mean, he seems like a nice enough guy. I don't have any problem with him. But I said, you know, I have the same problem with him that I have with Blake Bednarz and a few other people is I don't like people who are too certain and that they come to a conclusion and then they try to rule out everything else. And here's why. Because Jordan Henshaw has been running around for weeks telling us he knows beyond a reasonable doubt it was a CO2. Like he was able to, and then he says right here, I was wrong. This was yesterday. I was wrong. Probably not a CO2 gun. Tune in live tonight with Kelly Rayvon and I to find out why. Well, to be Kelly Rayvon and me, but that's okay. We're not reading you for your grammar. But you see the problem I have with people who get too confident, who are so certain it's this or it's that. So I'm not certain it's anything. Oh, I'm certain it's something. But I'm not certain in anything. And that's why. I'm not certain it's data centers. I'm not certain it's our greatest ally. I'm not certain it's our intelligence community. I'm not certain it's our military. I'm not certain it's anybody. I'm not certain it's TPUSA insiders. But what I want to do is I want to raise all these issues, allow everyone to look at it, get feedback, have people run off and do their development. One of my favorite things to do is scroll Twitter and see after Candace's show, after my show, after Ian does a show, after Trigger Smart does a show, after Danks does a show, and Bays does a show, all these people that do these shows with original investigation, original ideas, new connections. And then people play a clip and say, oh, here's what I think. And then they go down a rabbit trail. And then we're getting somewhere. This is the nature of a crowdsourced investigation. I love that. The next day after someone does a show and they bring new information, watch somebody clip it and run with it. Now, some of the people that run with it, honestly, you're like, did you watch the show? Because that's totally opposite of what I was saying. And that cannot be the case. But some of them you're like, woo, that's now that's a thread we need to start pulling on. I did not know that connection. And it's not just me. I mean, it's all of us. So thank you. Thank you. In addition, if you like what you saw here today, click the like button. It does help the show. I figured being at a new time on Sunday that the audience would be tough, but it's not been. You guys have been turned out in force today. So I appreciate that. Again, I've got an announcement to make, though. I'm going to be taking some time off. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to come back. It's not going to be tomorrow. May not be this week at all. I may be back in time for the Members Show Friday. Back on the air. I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just going to be off the air for a few days. There's some things I got to take care of around here. There's some things I just got to do. And I can't prepare a show on a daily basis and accomplish those things. So I'm going to be taking a few days off. I look forward to seeing people, fill the void and do their own investigations and where they go and reading all that. But I've basically been going 4 days a week plus a member show, so 5 days a week for 6 months. And I was doing 3 days a week before that. I just need a break. I got some stuff I've got to accomplish around here. So I'll be back. It won't be tomorrow. It won't be between now and Thursday. I can guarantee you that. Like, I've got too much to do between now and Thursday. It will never be done I will not be back on the air before Thursday. I probably could be back by Friday for a member show, but if not, I'll probably be back next Sunday. I'll let you know if I plan to be back before Sunday at any point. Whether to do a member show Friday, maybe even a member show Saturday. Danks does a member show on Saturday, and it does well. It's great. It's fun to watch. I watched it last week. Watched it yesterday. Watched it yesterday morning. So I did want to announce that. I'll be gone a few days at a minimum. I don't think it'll be more than a week, but I've just got a bunch of stuff I got to do. So I appreciate you supporting me all this time, and I hope over the next week you guys get your brain break from your humble host. I'll get my brain a little break from the daily grind, the day in, day out grind of all prep and no sleep for 6 months at a time. But it's basically been no sleep for me for about the last 8 months, and I've got to spend a week and recharge. So if you like what you've seen here, hit like. What I may do in the meantime, I may set up maybe one of the old member shows to go live on Tuesday or Wednesday to the general public, so that'll give you access to an older show. I did that on Spotify with Coach's show. Coach's member show is on Spotify. If you've not checked it out over there, that's a chance to see it. So I may do something like that, may release it to YouTube and Spotify just to give you guys just something to break up the monotony of me not being around. But you'll be better for it. I'll be better for it. And we will all reconvene whenever that day is, whether it's Friday or Sunday of this coming week. But I want to thank you for that. I want to let you know about that. And I do want to rip through some of your comments because it's my favorite part of the show. My favorite part of the show. It's not the all day prep. It's not the no sleep. It's not the open, which I really didn't do an open today. I just sort of rambled for half an hour, but it kind of worked as an open. But my favorite part of the show is the community. I love the community. So I want to rip through here and see some of your comments. Thank God it's Sunday. Our fearless host is back. Yes. He's right here. Hi, Baron. I'm 15 years sober. I'm also 15 years old and never drank in my life, but still, it's got to count for something. Love the show. Christ is King. Chess nerd, here's what I would say. The romanticism of alcohol is gone for me. I have none. I used to think it was kind of sexy, to kick back with a martini. Nope. Like Hendrix on the rocks with blue cheese stuffed olives. They used to feel very sophisticated and now feels very foolish. And so, chess nerd, if you don't drink, I would never start. And if you do drink, I would evaluate what does it add to your life and would it be worth giving it a shot to not drink? I think most people would probably be better off without it. Though I understand Jesus turned water into wine and we use wine at the Eucharistic celebration. So there's a place for it in society. I just think people should really think long and hard about it, about what that proper place is in their lives. But thank you. Member show. If you did not catch Dre from Dre Dossier on the member show Friday, Lord have mercy. What a talent. I don't even know her politics. We may be miles apart in politics. Irrelevant. irrelevant. I said, how did you get into searching data centers? Well, how did that become your interest? She goes, that's not my interest. My interest is corruption. I thought, oh, I'm in love with your content then, because that's my interest, is corruption. She was great. I mean, absolutely fantastic. So if you are a member, make sure you go back and watch that. If you're not, it might be worth joining just to watch that. A longtime lingerer. What's your name? Court Fu? Court FU? 3-month member, first time super chat. This is such a high IQ outfit that I was nervous to chat, but was encouraged when I had the honor of seeing a reply on X today from the legend himself. Keep doing God's work, praying for Massey from the Lou. Christ is king indeed. Thank you for that very generous opening super chat. I don't respond to a lot of X comments, so if I responded to yours, I thought highly of it. That's not something I typically do. So thank you for those kind words. What if data centers were being used to figure out time travel? I had a confused homeless type guy come into my store, a gas station named Timewise, asking if we could send him back to 2029. I mean, we can. He just has to wait 3 years. He'll get there. Yobi, thanks for another week of blessing us with your high IQ research and logic, and Daisy too. These data centers are going to deplete our resources and bankrupt towns for AI. We don't need. It's infuriating. Christ is king indeed. Someone feels like they need it. I don't know who. It's not you and me. Our lives were fine before ChatGPT came online in 2023. And we'd be fine without it. My husband died of leukemia when my triplets were 11, my oldest 12. I spent each day since trying to be double the parent, which makes EK's seeming absence as a mother baffling to me. Triplets all became NCAA Division I All-Americans. Wow, that's pretty amazing stat there. I doubt how many. I bet you're in a very select company of people who have been a triplet. I mean, that's already rare. And all three been Division I All-Americans. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Big love from Scotland. I'm your number one Scottish fan. Wow. Is Sean Connery still alive? I think he's dead. First time hearing new intro. Got a vision of Baron doing some kind of man dance to get hyped. I can't unsee it. Get it, boy? Oh, I got it. The man dance today, you notice I didn't pull comments up during the opening today. The man dance today was desperately trying to get my camera repositioned after my dog slept on the leg this morning. I didn't realize she had moved it quite so much. I fired the camera up while the intro's going on. I had it on, but I brought it up on the screen. I thought, I can't look like this the whole time. I hope it's in a good enough spot. Yeah, she slept on the tripod leg. I didn't know what happened. I was like, why does the leg move so much? And I saw a nest of dog hair. I was like, aha, Tilly. Please share advice on how to find God. I try to pray, ask for prayers, read Bible again. Gone to multiple churches. Are some people just rejected? Seriously, sorry for a religious question. Oh, don't be sorry for that question. You know who I refer you to on this is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He felt much in your position. I saw him give an interview one time and he was like, I just couldn't do it. And the way he got out of it is he lived as if it was true. So, almost fake it till you feel it. But I really feel like, there's that scripture in Exodus where it says God hardened Pharaoh's heart. And we get the idea that God stopped Pharaoh from feeling a certain thing or, being able to understand. But I wonder if it was the natural law, the violation of natural law, the enslaving of people, the murder of innocent people that stops your heart, that hardens your heart. I'm not saying you're involved in murdering innocent people, but I think all sin sort of has that effect. So what I would encourage you to do is get in line with natural law. Get in line with natural law. Live as if it's true. Well, if it's true, what are some of the things that I would need to do? Well, prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. It's always a good start. So you spend some time praying even if you don't think anyone's listening. Spend some time fasting, clear your mind. Almsgiving, find somebody's life to bless. Do it habitually, continually. There's great blessing in that. Love your neighbors yourself. Love your neighbors yourself. Treat those around you, particularly in your community. Treat them as if they're you. What do you need? Then give it to them. And obvious sins. I mean, these obvious sins that Christians. Don't open up somebody from 2026 and say, what do they consider sin? Like, look at the totality. Look at the body of evidence over the course of Christianity. What have people largely considered sin? Don't do them. Don't do them. Don't do them. Go and sin no more. That was Jesus' command to one of the people. Be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. That's another sin, another commandment he gave someone. Try to live a virtuous life. And then check in a year or two, see how you feel. And check out Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s story on that, because I think he basically said, like, I had nothing. I had no feeling. And also check out Mother Teresa's story on that. And there's who's the saint? Was it St. John of God who wrote Dark Night of the Soul? You could check into that, Dark Night of the Soul. Saint Mother Teresa said she went through what is she canonized as? Saint Teresa of Calcutta. She went through a dark night of the soul. I think she said it lasted decades. And what was the way out? Do what you're supposed to do anyway. Do what you're supposed to do anyway. There's nothing in the Bible that says you have to feel it. There's not, and that's weird. And this is a problem I have with some of my Protestant brethren and even some of my Catholic brethren. Not as many on the Catholic side, but a lot on the Protestant side. They come to me with, oh, Jesus has to be your best friend. Well, what if I don't feel like that? Does that mean I'm out? What if I don't know what that means? Does that mean I'm out? You have to have a personal relationship with Jesus. I don't know what that means. Does that mean I'm out? Like, I really don't know what that means. Does that mean I'm out? What if I live a basically virtuous life and I do well by my neighbors and I love them as myself and I pray, I fast, I give alms, I go to church, I go to confession, I do everything I'm supposed to do, but I don't, and I believe, right? But I don't know what that means, and I don't find any requirement in Scripture I even supposed to feel that or know what that means, or even that's supposed to be a reality. But then I've got all these people around me saying, "Oh no, that's it. That's the key. That's the only thing that matters." I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, nowhere in Scripture does Jesus say, what must I do to be saved? Oh, you must think I'm your best friend. You must have a personal relationship with me. No, go and sin no more. Sell off everything, give it to the poor. Like, that's what he told people. Be perfect. Your Father in heaven is perfect. So, I'll pray for you, brother. I genuinely will, or sister, Blue Lioness. I guess sister, Blue Lioness. First time catching live. I watch every show. Christ is King indeed. Oh, well, this is, maybe we picked up someone by going earlier that we usually only can watch the replay. So maybe I'll do an earlier show every now and then. So this is probably the earliest I've ever gone, I think 4:00. Captain Hot Pants is back from Hong Kong. And we've got a gifted member. Somebody can go watch the Dre Dossier show from Friday. Good day, Baron. Is this Australia? No, you just said good day. And the Jury Mob. I finally touched down in Oz. Oh, yeah, it is from Australia. 7 clicks in the morning here. Even down under this ungodly hour, Christ is still King. Indeed. I don't know what 7 clicks mean. That's 7:00. Baron. Doing the Lord's work. Great members with Dre on Friday. Agreed. Fire stream with Jesse Danks, Valhalla Bays, Trigger, and later Mr. Let Go Later. Poker Dogs in full force. Pray for us. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I had a lot of fun on that stream last night, but I'm a little tired because of it. I actually planned to go to bed very early last night, and I did not get in bed until well after 11, maybe closer to 12, because we were playing fake poker on YouTube. It was fun though. If you, I don't know who all hosted that. I think Jesse had a stream going. Trigger had a stream going. Bays, Danks, maybe. I'm not sure who all had that stream going. I didn't run it on my channel. But I jumped in, chatted with him for 3 or 4 hours. It was fun. First time catching live. Love your show. And hello from Estonia. Christ is king, indeed. From Estonia. I had a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach when DT didn't take his oath with the Bible. I tried to dismiss it as a mistake, but now I'm not thinking so. Nothing godly or integral about that man. Tucker did a great speech on it, a great show on that. My brother was instrumental in stopping a data center in Pekin, Illinois. Go Max, Christ is king. Indeed, if your brother would advertise that, he could probably pick up work in other jurisdictions who need the help. If he wants to make the money, I'm not sure. Your Highness, yes. Thank you for sharing on how you ended up being part of the Truth Squad by Dewey. Just in case you didn't know, Bongina has a share on Rumble, which could be why DeQueen and you have issues. It's not specific to me. It's a platform issue that I'm dealing with them on. There are things they could fix on that. I don't want to say it out loud because I don't want it to be worse than it already is for other people. I've already made the decision. I'm only going to upload there and not stream for the near future. But I've told them time and time again, here is a major roadblock. And if you can't fix it, I don't want to be a part of it as a live stream because it's not an enjoyable experience. And I think they know how to fix it because every other platform has fixed it, but they do not. They do not. Baron, you should lend Candace your Bad Cop hat. Millennial me would love that, like a Disney Channel crossover. Sitting right there. I could do that. They're building an Amazon data center less than 2 miles from me. I literally live in a tiny village in coal country. How many of us will get sick? Not a happy camper. Giving it all to God. I don't know, Janie. I don't know the answer to that. That's pretty close. Pretty close. 2,500 likes compared to 7,483 likes is weak. Let's do better to represent. Where are we now? No, we're over 9,000 likes. That's not great, but it's not terrible. If you've not liked the show yet, this is a good reminder to do. That must have been very early. Delaware is proposing one. They say that we'll use more electricity than all the homes in the state put together. There's your future. And now TPUSA is into real estate. Just saying. Are they? I can't find a straight answer. Why do we need these data centers? Beating China does not make sense to me. That's what I said in my, I don't want to call it an opening because it was just ramble. That's what I said in my rambling statement. All they keep telling us is we got to beat China. At what? What do we have to beat China at? That's a terrible piece of grammar. At what do we have to beat China? At what do we have to beat China? Tell me how it impacts me as a middle-class American in Middle Tennessee. How do we have to beat China? At what do we have to beat them? Because I don't get it. No data centers. Keep grinding for the good. Doing my best. Phoenix had a moratorium in 2023 on urban development due to lack of groundwater. Hasn't put a hindrance on data center installs, though. Look at how many are going into the valley. Is that what you guys call it there? The valley? Like a valley of the kitty litter box? I call it the kitty litter. The whole desert Southwest is a giant kitty litter box. That's why you have mountain lions. They feel at home. Saw the light turn on while talking with Dre. I agree. Yes, you saw that. CK could have amassed huge turnout against data centers. I'm disgusted. Missing scientists. There'll be more because anyone close to solving data storage without destroying our land. Poof. Christ is king indeed. I agree that he could have been a massive assistance in helping push back on these things. Hey, when exactly did Tucker get huge pushback from Greatest Allies? Was that after Sam Altman interview and investigation? Ooh, that's a good question. What date was that? Tucker Carlson, Sam Altman. Man, that was an awesome interview. Oh, yeah, it was before that. Let me see what date that was. September 10th. Wait a minute. That interview hit YouTube the day Charlie died. That's weird, right? In light of everything we talked about today, that's weird. I gotta think about what that means. I don't know. That's crazy. But no, he'd been getting pushed back for months prior to that. But that was such a wild interview. He's like, hey, so everybody thinks you killed the guy who used to work for you. Did you? And the guy's like, well, do you think that? He's like, well, I kind of do. I mean, it kind of looks like you did. Well, to me, it looks like, and Sam was like, to me, it looks like a suicide. And Tucker's like, no, it doesn't at all. It more looks like you killed him. See? These people will go get a hamburger. They won't think a thing about you. Tucker saw it. I'm back. Search Thompson triplets today show. I was diagnosed with breast cancer 4 years after a husband died. Double mastectomy, chemo, immunotherapy for 13 months. Cold capped my hair so I wouldn't seem sick to my kids. They are all I cared about. Wow. Jenny, that's tough. That's tough. I don't even know what cold capping means, but it sounds like a sacrifice. Thank you for sharing that. Sorry about the loss of your husband. I hope your kids are doing well. Genuinely. Roxanne. Baron, thank you. This makes so much sense. This is probably why Trump and blank are going so hard to unseat Massey and Boebert for opposing. Yes, exactly. Exactly. This has, I think we're misreading the pro greatest ally data center. I think there's a connection there that we're missing. We've bifurcated those into two separate issues, and we should not. I think it's the same issue. But Baron, love the show and how you're thinking. On top of data centers, power companies are also building battery storage facilities with lines and substations to support all these new facilities. Yeah, so that's an option. Build batteries to, the demand on the power lines is less at night than it is during the day, for example, most of the year. And during the times when you're not running at max capacity, you can either just lose that, or you could build out massive battery facilities and then pump that additional power out when you need it. Yeah, that's an option. Geothermal, a solution. It's closed loop underground. Water doesn't evaporate. Missing Charlie Kirk. Massey Carlson, 2028. Christ is king indeed. That would be a heavily opposed ticket. I don't know about geothermal. I don't know how reliable that is. I haven't looked into it much. My first super chat ever. Oh, hello, Nana Zazu. Hello, Baron. I lost my sister last week. Very unexpected. We as a family are absolutely devastated. Being here is helping me through so much. Thank you. Blessings from England. Well, blessings from Middle Tennessee over here in these United States, Nana Zazu. I'm sorry to hear about your loss, but I'm glad we can offer you some support. We'll pray for you. Thank you. This is so scary, watching a young activist in Georgia whose house was taken and her entire neighborhood was taken by eminent domain. Scary. Yeah, that's one of the stories I was talking about towards the end of the show. It sounds like you sent that before I said it. You sound like Woody from Toy Story. I love RBP, though. I'm going to take it as a compliment. I thought about getting upset about it, but no, I'm going to take it as a compliment. There's a snake in my boots. Yes, yay, caught alive in UK, thanks to the early session. Not been able to sit through a whole movie in years, but 4 hours of Baron is a doddle. Is that one of your British words you guys say? Doddle? Keep up the great work. There aren't data centers. They're human tracking centers. No, that's true. And you spelled centers wrong twice. I kid. I know you guys spell it weird over there. I get it. That's not my fault. I can't be the only one who notices. They're getting caught building data centers. They're not asking to build them now. They're halfway done on some investments while we slept. Yeah. Hold on. 1, who, 2, how, 3, why. Derives from who. Yes. I agree. Hold, please. Data centers equal light pollution, noise pollution, higher power and water costs, lower power and water availability. And for what? AI, which will eventually take our jobs from us. No thanks. Yeah. You summarized the problem in a nutshell, Monica. You have identified the problem. The second step is fixing it. Did you know that Erika is on the USAF Board of Visitors? Oh, yeah, we had like 5 shows on that. If you're new to the program, I'm not making fun of you. Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Where's the welcome song intro? What did I miss? We've changed songs. That had a nice little 10-show run, and we've gone a different direction, but thank you. Where can I email you about my discussion with a Robinson? realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Just put discussion with a Robinson in the subject line, and I'll take a look at it. Discussion with a Robinson. realbaronpodcast@gmail.com. Here in Ireland, 90 data centers, 40 more planned. We have the most expensive electricity in the EU. Because government doesn't care. People can't afford heat. No, they don't. They don't. That I was reminded a second ago. Let me check something out here. I was reminded a second ago, we have some new merch up if you guys haven't seen it yet. You can go to realbaronpodcast.com and check out the merch, hit view all, and you'll see a whole bunch of new stuff if you've not had an opportunity to check that out. Nurse Casey's very proud of it. So am I. Very proud of her work. Perhaps Tech Squad's reason for Massey primary. I believe he was pushing back on data centers. Probably only one who is reading the bills. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I think it's so much easier to say, oh, he wasn't a fan of our greatest ally, so we have to get rid of him, than it is to say, oh, he's not a fan of data centers. Because then people go, wait, what, are we supposed to be opposed to him? Well, what's the problem? Have you guys heard about this? Have you heard about this? Yeah. I get that I am the most jaded, if that is the right word. I don't trust a single politician to not be bought. After Trump, how can we believe any politician won't roll? That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe the important call EK got was from Trump. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I don't know that I've come up with a theory in my mind of who it could be. I'm trying to right now. I don't know anyone in that would be more important in that context. At this point, all we need are sparkly jumpsuits to fall from the sky to officially commence the beginning of the end of the world. Well, how about just one walking out on the stage? Maybe part of the op is making it about one data center under East Wing instead of all of them around us. Of the way you put the pieces together for our consideration. Steel ball baron. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what the rest of it means. I don't know what steel ball baron is. But I'll take it as a compliment. I have no other option at this point. President to spend $1 billion to save the Salt Lake data center. Is it right? Is right next to it related? Oh, to save the Salt Lake data centers right next to it related. Oh, I don't know. Maybe. How do you save the Salt Lake? What's happening? It's draining, right? I mean, how do you stop that? Build a dam, maybe? I don't know. Trump tech donors knew the pushback was a growing problem. Solution? EO 14318, signed 7/23/25. If your name isn't worth money, Trump doesn't care whit about you. Yeah, we've covered that executive order as well on this program. That's a good point. Baron, great job on September 11th. Arrest theory. Do you recall news articles for Discord stating messages were not from them? Best wishes from Texas. Yeah, I need to go back and pull those because a lot of people have mentioned those, and I don't recall them saying none of the messages were from Discord. I do recall them saying it wasn't planned on Discord. And I think that's probably pretty accurate, that it wasn't planned on Discord. But I don't recall. Can I tell you something? I've gotten frustrated with something. So, X has changed their algorithm. And it used to be that X was very text heavy. And I liked that. I'm a text guy. I don't like looking at pictures. Pictures and video don't do it for me. Text does it for me. I'm an intellectual at heart. But they've changed their algorithm and you get so much more boost if you include some stupid pictures. So now every X post that I see has some picture that may or may not even be related to it. It's got some video attached to it. And it's just like Instagram. I wanted to be on Instagram, I go to Instagram. If I want to be on TikTok, I go to TikTok. You go to X because there's intellectual discussion taking. Not anymore. Interesting. We are magically no longer in a climate crisis. Now that data centers are so necessary, yeah. Global warming doesn't mean anything anymore. Data centers are part of Agenda 2030, digital ID, vehicle kill switch, surveillance, WEF, modern slavery. Well, you sound like a joy at parties. You know your life is going to suck in just 4 years. These data centers are pretty vulnerable. They all require transformers, which there's no real stockpile of. Also, we need water piped in from local sources. How will these companies protect these weak points? From Cuba. You're in Cuba? Cuba? I didn't know Cubans could watch. Well, buenas tardes. En Cuba. I had no idea. We were big in communist tyrannical dictatorships. Baron, it's my mom's Linda's birthday. I love my mom. Love you too. Christ is King indeed. Happy birthday, Linda. I had no idea, Moon Goddess. Keep up the physical therapy, though, Moon Goddess. We don't need any regression. Oh. Tilly is telling you guys she's famous. I'm trying to be nice these days. Me, but every day. Go Max. Yeah, I am trying to be nicer. Part of the week off. Just give me my blue pill and let me pick a pod. I hope you're not doing that to the show. I mean, you can. You don't have to not do that, but I hope you're not doing that to the show. Thank you. I live in rural southern Indiana, and we found out they're putting a data center in about 2 miles from our house. It's supposedly going to be the second largest in the United States. Keep speaking the truth. Where in data center? Southern Indiana? Jeffersonville? That's southern. That's Kentucky. That's not even southern Indiana. That's Kentucky. I just kid. Not mostly. Texas County just passed a 1-year pause on data centers being built in that county over concerns with water and energy usage. First of its kind. Unfortunately, still many other being built in Texas. Love you, B. Love you too, little Neener. Unfortunately, I think those moratoriums are probably going to be challenged in court and they'll lose, if I had to guess. But if a community wants one, then don't pass a moratorium, obviously. But if they don't, that's not a bad first step. There's a clip. I think it's from Charlie's last interview. The clip is Charlie talking about how AI is going to be huge. Look into this because you're definitely onto something. I will do that. Charlie Kirk. What'd you say? Last interview? AI huge. Okay. Thank you. That's a very good tip. Facts. 1 year ago, I didn't question our greatest ally whatsoever. I have a good friend. I didn't know this was the thing. I mean, the circles I run in, not a thing, but I have a good friend and he's, one of my better friends. And he was like, hey, you're the first person that I'd ever talked to who did not think everything they did was perfect. I was like, really? And I remember the very first time we talked about it, I was like, yeah, not a fan. He was like, what? Are you serious? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I've never heard that before. And I was like, oh, brother, we got to talk. Classic. Plomo or plata. It's an old mafia move. Yeah, well, I don't speak Italian. I don't know what it means. Don't say Shark Tank Man is involved. Christ is King indeed. I don't know if he's involved or not. I know he's involved in the data centers. I know he shares a lawyer with Erika Kirk. Or did at one time. As they say south of the border. Plata o plomo. Mafia move. First super chat, regular replayer, as I'm usually sleeping soundly when you're live. Thoroughly enjoy your high IQ outfit. It's a welcomed mental break from being a full-time carer for my special needs son. Thank you from Cornwall. Where's Cornwall? That's England, right? That's England, I think. Well, thank you for watching. I'm glad we can offer you a little break. Geofencing requires data centers. Wait until our next show and we get into the Clock Tower X side of things. You might be onto something, good sir. Uncle B, got a good news update thanks to the prayers of you and our awesome community. I got an amazing job that levels me up in my career in asset protection. Christ is king indeed. Love the MMA show last night, by the way. Frank the Tank, what great news. What wonderful news. And thank you for sharing that victory with us. I love when people do that. So thank you for sharing. Hey, Baron. Phoenix Salt River Project is the electric service provider for 90% of the city. Electric bills listed at $275 a month. Haven't seen bills that low since 1995. If the AC temp is set to 80 degrees, maybe. Bills mostly in the $300 range. Facing bills in the $500 for electricity? Do you live in like a 15,000 square foot mansion that was built in like the 1930s and is drafty? $500 power bill? That's lunacy. That's lunacy. You got to get out of there. That's crazy. Well, thank you for that donation. EK was outed by the White House as an asset. When? Oh, you're talking about the email. Yeah. First thing Trump talked about following CK's death was the ballroom. Yes. First thing MAGA talked about after the White House Correspondents' Dinner was the ballroom. Yes. See, you're starting to see the connections here. You guys are figuring it out now, right? Caught your interview with Dre. Loved it. Question. Could like-minded subscribers and podcasters, 3M or so, start a movement and stand up to Deep State? Love to Coleman's and Tilly. Julia. I don't know what 3M or so means, but could like-minded subscribers and podcasters start a movement, stand up to? Yeah, I mean, sure. I don't know how successful that'd be, but it'd be better not standing up. Okay, as we say. I believe AI money. Where are you from? Is that Scotland? Scotland? That's Scotland. You're eating haggis when you say that. Unite the Kingdom event in the UK yesterday honored Charlie. I'm sure he's smiling ear to ear, saying the movement. Christ is king indeed. I didn't know that, but good for them. Just found out they're building a huge data center in Guadalupe County and New Braunfels. This is my town. This is why our mayor won't concede, even though he lost. Huge story right now. Christ is king indeed. Data center in New Braunfels. Wonder if that's why the TPUSA plane tends to go to New Braunfels a lot. Starting to see the connections. Is there one in Haley, Idaho, Albuquerque or Santa Fe? Where else does the planes tend to go a lot? I don't want to give away all my secrets, but yeah. Pierre sounding like the kind of guy to help Trump rebuild Gaza. Ooh, I didn't even think of that. Wow. That didn't even cross my mind. I was thinking data centers. But Baron, they're building a massive power infrastructure from Entergy in Richland Parish in Louisiana to support Meta's colossal $27 billion Hyperion AI data center. What can we do? Please help. I don't even know where Richland Parish is. This is a problem, guys. You see what's happening here? Everybody commenting in and saying, what's happening? Where's Richland Parish? That's east of Monroe, Louisiana. That's way out there. At least you don't have any shortage of water there. Maybe that's why they're putting it there. Interesting. I don't know what to do. That's kind of the thing. I'm just raising the issue right now. I don't know. I always think about CK sleeping in their child's room. He possibly heard something that night, and got into an argument with Dr. Franzfe. I wish people that CK texted would come forward. Yeah, they're probably afraid to lose their neck. Interesting, scary idea. Could they be pushing AI so hard so their friends can have bodies? I'm so glad we know. God always wins. Christ is king indeed. I didn't even think about that either. This is why I bring this stuff up to you guys. Actually, so their bodies can have minds. How about that? The bodies are easy to manufacture. You just bolt some bolts together. Some wires, run some wires. But you got to have the brain. That's interesting. That's interesting. When is the last time you watched Shooter, the movie? Interesting to combine with Snake Eyes, and it'll make you think. I know you're a busy granddad, so this is more for your audience. Not a granddad yet, but very busy. I've never heard of Shooter. Bless you for getting us closer to the truth. I'm trying. Tavistock. Now that's a rabbit hole. It's UK. I didn't know that. Now see, I'm learning. B, you are wrong. Boomers don't like outsourcing. Maybe not all. But outsourcing was brought to us by boomers. As was Medicare Part D, as was Medicaid and Medicare, as was the Great Society, I mean, it just was. It was. I'm not mad at boomers. I'm mad at the policies of that generation that have gone into place the last 40 years. Could PF be funding the ballroom? I don't know. PR is great, but not if reality doesn't cooperate, like gas prices. Well, they'll just tell you it's good for you. What if Charlie thought God was asking him to be a Hosea for Erika? I can imagine her playing that up to make Charlie okay with her past. Ooh. Those are harsh words against Erika. Wow. My B, you inspire me. Love your work, Baron and company. Not to forget JD VP's mentor, Teal. Something to gain there, allegedly. IMO, love from London. UK. I'm kidding. I know where London is. It's funny you call it London, United Kingdom, not London, England. Because I'll allow it. But I've not forgotten about Peter Thiel. How out of touch is the graduation speaker? She grosses me out. Yeah, me too. Mother's Day brunch I was playing bird noises over the loudspeaker. It was really nice. Isn't it nice? I've been playing bird noise. It's really something. Thank you. U of Arizona graduation on 5/14. AI talk got booed by grads. Now, you must have sent that before I played it because I played that. I smell glittered bull butter. Yeah. Oh, it's got glitter all over it. I remember when learn to code was the catchphrase of the day. Well, that'll end up broke. If you learn to code now, you're going to end up broke. But Baron sent you something. Should be there the 22nd. Hope all is well. God bless you and your family. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. I will be there. Probably get by there this week to check it. It's been a while. IMO, Iran and Israel, were dry runs to see CK reach. Ooh, that's a terrifying thought. That is ooh. Wow. Hold on, I got an address for this New Braunfels site. I want to look at it. Hold, please. I am looking at it on a map. It's on an old farmhouse. Interesting. Yeah. Right up there by the airport, huh? Interesting. Wow. Who'd have thunk? Data centers maybe helps explain TPUSA's interest in real estate development that no one could explain. Look at the big brain on Tom. And that's not me making fun of you. I agree with you. I think we all really need to pay attention to how TPUSA works with this AI data center pushes. Yes, we need to watch them like hawks. That's why I'm doing the show. We need to be, awareness is half the battle. Tired of the boomer bashing, Baron. Older equals wiser. Yeah, okay, I got you. But that doesn't mean I can't mention it. Wait till I get started on the greatest generation. Now, what a scam that was. What a scam that was. They made up the name Greatest Generation like we weren't going to challenge it. I mean, they brought you a lot worse than the boomers did. But Gen X and the millennials have done no better. So we're all guilty. April 27, 2026, making small modular reactors and microreactors under development in the United States. There is URL, EIA, Gov, nuclear power is the only stable source for data center. By the way, what a disturbing graduation speech. Indeed. Thank you for that. Proud of these kids for doing something we were too polite to do at graduation speech. Booing. Way to go, guys. We never would have. That's funny. I got a kid that's giving a graduation speech, the valedictorian. And I hope they don't boo. I hope they don't boo. I won't boo. I'm going to beam with pride. Data centers are connected to AI, aliens, and Project Bluebeam. Not a conspiracy theory either. We must have discernment. Yeah, maybe that's why they're slow rolling. I don't say ahead of you on that, but I've thought it. Like, what if that's why they're slow rolling this alien thing? Because they know by the time they get the compute power up, they're going to be able to convince us of anything. Data centers. There's a large dispute now in Hopkins County, Texas. Additional, one over Franklin. Lithium and brine mining bring issues in real estate with verbiage regarding mineral rights, not covering this and this up and coming commodity. Go Max. Christ is king indeed. I would think mineral is any mineral. Thank you. Tavistock is where all the social engineering is born. Wow. I had no idea Tavistock was so controversial. Your data center thesis aligns well with military priorities, AI applications, and our greatest ally. Could explain why military intelligence at Fort H had so much interest, allegedly. Are you talking about Huachuca? Fort Huachuca? Notice the date of the Open AI announcement after CK. Open AI announcement, September 25. Yeah. You're right, September 22nd. What if this is interesting. Yeah, we'll talk about it on the next show, which may be a week or more. But what if well, we'll talk about it on the Clock Tower show. I've already done 2 Clock Tower shows back in January. I'm going to do another one. Charlie was not about going to college either. I know he said for a while, but seemed to say more later. Save the money, he said. Foreshadowing. Thank you, Ron, for connecting these dots. Whoa! Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Those young people give me hope. My 5th grade students are not fans of AI. Grand jury, can we all pray they find God and become happy warriors, like Candace says? Yeah, the young people give me hope. Because you know why? If you're 55 right now, you're probably living in a house and you have equity. Probably a good amount of equity, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50% or more of your home's value. You actually own in equity. You don't owe a bank on that. You sold the house today, you would keep that in cash. If you're 22, where are you going to live? You graduate from college. You got a $2,000 or $3,000 a month student loan payment. Where are you going to live? What are you going to do for a living? Like, I see why they're booing. Dystopian nightmare of a world that is what the transhumanist globalists want for us. Absolute control over every aspect of our lives. We cannot allow it. I agree. My kid just graduated from UGA. Her specific college's convocation featured a speaker, older woman, who promoted AI. No booing, but they were angry. What in the hell is wrong with these people? Why do they think that's something the college kids want to hear? This is how out of touch these people are, guys. They don't get it. Charlie got it. Well, but he's not here with us. See the connection? See the connection, Aggie girl? Do you see the connection, Aggie girl, or not? Joining late, there was a wildfire in Canton, Texas late last week, which is about 50 miles from Dallas. That area has become the epicenter for these data centers here in Texas. It's not a coincidence. No, there was also a wildfire in the Everglades, where I think near where they're looking to put one. Let's see what goes into the massive wildfire centers in Argentina, for example. IMO, they just want our kids to give up and waste away so they can't fight back. Less degrees and more useful skills like electricians, plumbers, etc. I work in an industry that constructs industrial buildings. Data centers are probably the biggest source of sales nationwide. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Is Jeff even licensed in Utah? No, he's not. It's a ProHawk situation. Or ProHawk Vice. It's a ProHawk situation. Is he linked to the Dillon law firm? No, I don't think so. He looks like a total creep and doubt he practices this area. Well, I don't see what that has to do with it. the not practicing this area. Yeah, that's very weird, but the people are allowed to look like a creep. There's nothing illegal about that. Dan Bongino made a career out of it. Data centers are not profitable to even those building them. So why do they want them? What would they use them for? Time to wake up, folks. I would think they're profitable, right? Maybe they're not. I don't know. The Michael Dade project is reporting on X. Paramount Untactical received $191,000 in DoD money after Charlie Kirk death. Also, Mitch said that that guy was not his son. Untactical allegedly hired an actor. I don't think he was an actor. He may may not be his son, but I think there's an alleged familial connection. As for the 191,000, we've covered that many times. That's not breaking by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not against AI, but my Gen Z siblings are. What if they put them all at the Gulf of America? That water is ghetto. Give life-changing money to them. The water is ghetto? How is water ghetto? That's like the most beautiful green coast water I've ever seen in my life. That's why it's called the Emerald Coast. Nonsense. All seems connected. Even Mikey? Hope not. Oh, I don't know about Mikey. Maybe that's what Mikey was telling people to look into Andrew for. He got left out. Man, last night was awesome. Do that more, please. Everyone, please watch. Yeah, it's hard to get 7 podcasters together, but they're all great. I had a good time with all of them. Everyone, please watch Jimmy Dore tomorrow. Kim Overton, a 25-year friend, founder of Nurse Freedom Network from the Nashville area, will be on at 7 p.m. Kim Overton. Why does that name sound? Who's that? Kim Overton. I don't think I've ever seen her, actually. That name sounds familiar. Yeah, I don't know her. Nurse Freedom Network and Remnant Healthcare. Talk radio host. America Out Loud. Wonder what talk radio network she's on. Maybe that's why it sounds familiar. I don't know. That name sounded familiar. Thank you for that. Ellison's donation to Israel. Can't make it up, y'all. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of right there in your face, isn't it, when you look at it? Oh, what a tangled web that Black Widow weaves. You said it. That's your opinion, allegedly, in your opinion. Is Tyler Robinson a part of this whole psyop since he allegedly turned himself in? Does that mean he really won't be pushing hard to argue the prosecutors? How deep does all the fake go? Donna, this is a very kind donation. Thank you. Yeah, it's funny, man. We almost forget about Tyler Robinson sometimes. He's so obviously not the mastermind behind Charlie's demise. It's just laughable that people still push that. We had that discussion last night on that live stream. Like, for what cost would you willingly just lose all credibility and destroy your channel? Like, look what we mentioned Paramount and Practical earlier. Look what he's done to his channel. It's just destroyed it. Look what Ben Shapiro's done to his channel. Just destroyed it. Like, how much would someone have to pay you to take the audiences those people had and just turn it to nothing? It would have to be substantial. It would have to be substantial. I mean, look what they did to the Charlie Kirk show. They get 180 viewers. That was the #1 podcast in America at one time. Millions of views daily. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That'd be like you make $1 million a year, and now you make like 500. Like, that's a big change in circumstances. People ask me how I knew our nation will win Eurovision. I read the lyrics, and it was obvious. Praise of Lucifer. Poor girl sold her soul for a trophy. I don't even know. I don't follow Eurovision. What is that? Is that some sort of... I know it's a talent show or something, but why do you guys care about that so much? Every year or two that pops up, and it's like a big deal. Who won? You said our nation. You got L-Bucks. That could be anybody. Or E-Bucks. Bulgaria. I used to work with a girl from Bulgaria. Very smart girl. Bangaranga, the song by pop singer Dara. track secured the country's first ever Eurovision victory with a combined. I don't understand that. Like, it's like the Olympics of songs or something. I don't follow it. But I worked with a girl from Bulgaria, very, very sharp, but had a very distinct American accent. I mean, very distinct Bulgarian accent as she spoke here. Edit, it was Canyon, Texas, not Canton. I'll allow it. I'm late to the show. Just heard you say, hopefully you can crochet a blanket or something together as I'm crocheting while listening. See? Love your show. Christ is King from your Baptist listener. That means you're not here on Wednesdays, but that's okay. That's okay. We will allow it. Just because you crochet while you listen. I hope it's a beautiful thing you're crocheting. The Dre dossier has the effortless charm and curious search for truth that is obvious in her authenticity that EK wishes she had. If Erika Kirk, this is God's honest truth. If Erika Kirk had the wit and confidence and natural presentation that Dre has from Dre dossier, and you had that package in the access to power, fame, money, political circles that Erika Kirk has, that would be devastating. That would be devastating. And what a devastating combo that would be. No one would be able to push back against Erika. You can get whatever she wants. But because she looks ridiculous and acts like a total nutcase, you know. She said she was going to go away, and then I keep seeing her everywhere. Like, I want to go home for a while. Okay, well then got to do an appearance looking like an angry Italian server. Then we got to go to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We got wherever else she was here. Oh, I got to go do a speech at Liberty here. I mean, go home, girl. Go home. Like, I had hope for you there for a minute. Baron for breakfast on Monday in Australia. I love this Sunday shows. You're getting close, Baron. There's a connection between Charlie and the data centers. I like to think so. I mean, I'm starting to think I'm onto something. 2 data centers going up here in Columbia County, Georgia, no matter how much we protest. I'd moved back to Louisiana, but just had my first grandchild here. Been a fan of since your hat days. God bless. Christ is King indeed. We may put the hat back on at some point. Hold on. Nobody needs to be embarrassed about discounting corporate. It has taken us this long together to get this far. We are putting it together now. Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind, Michael Jester, 4639. Thank you. I genuinely appreciate that because I was a little embarrassed. I hadn't seen this before. I looked up and I thought, how did this get past me? It's so obvious now that you look at it. So obvious. Shawnee! Shawnee's great. We love Shawnee. Shawnee, thank you for your continued generosity. Not just the data centers, the geofencing of data. TPUSA Faith announced a new partnership with the Show by Faith Works company right after Charlie's death. Superfeed Tech was being paid by TPUSA already. Scott Pressler's early vote action app tracks through Superfeed, many with motives. So multiple things. One, we've sort of covered that a little bit. Again, back in January, we had a couple of shows on it. We will do more in the future because now that the data center component is in play, I want to get back to this Clock Tower X and Salem Media, and then the recent sale of Salem Media. I do think this is all connected with the data centers and Charlie's passing. As for Scott Pressler, I think he's a scam artist. I can't say that. Like, I have no proof of that. Well, I mean, I can show that he loses just about every race he's in and he sucks up all the money out of it. I can show you some of that. I could go through his 990s and you guys would be shocked. I feel bad for people who have donated to him, but I just don't feel like he gets results. Like, he says he does all this stuff and then it doesn't happen. How many races has he been in that they won? How many races has TPUSA been in that they've won? They keep losing all the time. I mean, they may have won a few here and there. Not implausible that giving giving Charlie an opportunity to get in on investments, data centers on the ground floor could have been a part of the package that would have taken him to the next level. I'm starting to think I'm right on that. Yep, corrupt abuse of eminent domain. Correct. Thank you for your show. Huge fan. Merch request for the Go Watch Beaches shirt. Nurse Casey, there's a request for Go Watch Beaches. But we got to be careful. We can't use Bette Midler's face or anyone else's face. We can't use any images from the movie because they won't like that. But yeah, we could. We absolutely could do that. That's That's on my list of things I'd like to see at some point. Go watch Beaches. Grew up with the soundtrack, knew every word. Just wanted to watch it for the first time at 41 years old. So good and new fave. Yes, great movie. I watched it when I was a kid. Soundtrack was fantastic. Wind Beneath My Wings. Come on. If you don't like that song, you're a psycho. You don't have to like Bette Midler to like her music. You don't. Our overlords are exercising their right to own us. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible news. I'll be talking about this on Alley Top Files Friday, but take a look at the master plan presented by the Board of Peace. Gaza data centers all day. Well, I will look forward to that because made me think of something, but I'm plugged in here and I can't unplug very easily right now. I rerouted my headphones in a way that they don't bother me as much by hanging down and rubbing on my neck the whole time, but it's going to prevent me from grabbing stuff off the bookshelf should the need arise. I'll be interested in that because I was unaware of the Gaza connection to data centers. So that makes sense because the Mediterranean has a lot of water. And it's not too hot there, I don't think. To help prove your point, the whole takeover of Venezuela was by the military for the corporate oil companies. Thank you, Baron, for all you do. Correct. That's what I'm saying, guys. And where did the first shipment of oil go? It's called compulsory purchase in UK. Very common. Yeah, it's called eminent domain here. Notice it's a foreign government because they don't care about the future of American citizens. We ask why our people would do this. They are up again. It's a beast. We were told it was a beast in the Bible. Kidding. Just kidding. I would never say that. You know I don't mean that. Humor. It's sure interesting how CK loved Massey and now TPUSA won't support him. Almost as if removing him was a political plan. Oh, you think Tyler Robinson knew? Maybe that's why Tyler Robinson did it. Maybe Tyler Robinson was a big fan of the war in Iran, a big fan of Ed Galrine defeating Thomas Massey, a big fan of defeating Lauren Boebert, a big fan of getting data centers put in. Maybe that's why Tyler Robinson did it. It wasn't about trans furries at all. Now we're getting somewhere. Baron, is it possible for the government to seize land to build their data centers using the power of eminent domain? Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know. That may have come in before I said that, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's happening all over the place. She's chubby because she's not grieving. Oh. Eating and boozing just fine. Notice her water retention face before it was okay to say. Shame. EK is naturally pretty. Who else did I notice has an alcoholic face? I noticed somebody else recently. I said, that's an alcoholic face. Who was it? Oh, Ben Shapiro. I was watching Ben Shapiro a day or two ago, and I thought, is he boozing like hard? Is he drinking hard? Because that face is, I know it, man. I had it. Go look at my old stuff. I could pull up some of my old stuff, and you go, hey, alcoholic face. It's a thing, guys. I'm not going to do it because I don't want to embarrass myself right now. I think guys think less of me. Thank you, Azaz. B, why is the word forbidden remedy? Why is the word why is the I word forbidden remedy? Christ is king. I don't know what that means. I word forbidden remedy. I don't know what that means. What up, my B? I saw on Twitter how a Shlomo Pearl is greatest ally slang for gullible, naive, or easily manipulated person. And Donnie T calls him that out in the open after he dies. So here's the thing with the Shlomo Pearl thing. I don't know that I saw an original report on that. I saw a bunch of stuff on X, but I see so much AI stuff on it. I don't. I need to see a link to the original or someone to acknowledge it before I'll accept that, because that's so bad. If it's true, it's awful. It's so bad that I just can't believe it's true. IMO Waterstone is going to buy Daily Wire. They are fine looking distressed. Merged with Salem. Truth Social is being spun off right now. It buys the merged Salem Daily Wire, then controls the largest right-wing media company in the country to message. Yeah, I think what TPUSA is having trouble is finding right now, and what Daily Wire found over the last couple of years, is you can't divorce the messenger from the organization that messages. Now, back in the day, Fox News would fire you, and they would just put someone else in, and there's like not a lot you could do about it. So, they fired Alan Colmes, right? And Alan had nowhere to go. He could get no audience. And they just said, well, it's just going to be Hannity now. We don't like Hannity and Colmes. We're just going to have Hannity. And then they fired Bill O'Reilly. Everyone's like, oh, will they ever survive? Well, then they just put someone new in that spot. And then that person's a star. Because back then, there was no independent media. There was no YouTube. There was no podcast really to speak of. There was no streaming. There were some blogs and stuff, but there was no alternative media opportunity. And so if you held the entity, you could control the message, or you control the message, and you could control who the messengers were. Now you can't do that. Fox News fires Tucker Carlson. He's bigger than ever. Daily Wire fires Candace Owens. She's bigger than ever. Why? Because not just because I think they're able to divorce company from messenger, but because they're finally able to run the show they really always wanted to run anyway. There's no constraints. There's no editor saying, no, we're not doing that. And you're not tied into these little 6-minute segments and ads and all that. Just talk as long as you want. Candace could turn on her. I do it. Turn on your cameras. You can go 30 minutes. Like sometimes she'll have a show that's 45 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half. You don't have that luxury on Fox News. Like back in the day, you listened to Walter Cronkite. That's all you had. There was nowhere else to go. Walter Cronkite said we went to the moon. Everybody's like, yeah, we went to the moon. And now you look at it and go, we didn't go to the moon. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. That's so stupid. You really think that? And they're like, yeah. Why? Because then Walter Cronkite told them. Walter Cronkite didn't tell me I wasn't alive. I don't believe it. But thank you. Good comment. Thank you for all you do, Baron and team. Thank you. Great stream, Baron. Mikey, come on over. We help you. Yeah, Mikey. We can get some relief on this side. Mikey, I think Mikey could be a star if he went out on his own. I really do. I don't think he's terrible. I just think he's terrible in that role. Heard another podcast. No, I don't remember who. That the real Erika was taken out quietly and as a person in a mask. Have you gone down that hole? Christ is king indeed. So it came up on the member show Friday. You're a member. You ought to watch it. It came up on the member show Friday, I think during the question and answer session. And I pulled up a picture and they looked like different people. But someone said, hey, makeup and water retention, maybe boozing. I don't know. But yeah, she looked totally different. Speaking of, Joe Rogan's latest trying to say Theo is unstable. He's clearly compromised. Joe was supposed to be a friend of Theo. Glad Theo sees it. I got very nervous for Theo's life in that moment. That's God's honest truth. If anyone tells you that they're worried about me and I'm not stable and I'm great. I've never been happier in my life. This is May 17, 2026. Best day of my life. I've never had a better day. I've never had a better year than 2026. And they get better every year. So I can only imagine what 2027 and beyond brings. The fact that someone says Theo's potentially a threat to himself, oh, that's scary. That's scary. But Baron, these times are wild. You, Candace, Coach Colin, Ian, and they other decentralized homies coming forward remind me of Esther in the Bible, made for such a time as this. Keep going. We've all got your back. Thank you. I could always use some help from behind there, Lainey. I would love more info on why you believe Earth used to be closer to Saturn than it is now and how creation fits into that. I definitely think you should do a member show on all of that. I have. I mean, I could do a better one. I've mentioned it on several member shows, so go back and watch some of the older ones. It would be ones where I didn't have a guest. I don't remember which ones in particular, but I have talked about Electric Universe several times on member shows. But I could go through the whole time. Maybe I'll do that on the next one. I got Nisi Social. I was going to do a member show with her next week, but because I don't know if I'm going to be here, I haven't asked her yet. So if I am here, maybe I'll do that one. Now that you know, are you able to say people in southern Lebanon, for example, are fighting the evil Epstein class in the West? Now that I know what? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. What a mesis we weave. Oh, a mess we weave when we practice to deceive. Yes, the mess. Friend ordained this weekend. So much joy. You should have joy. That's a wonderful, 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 wonderful bit of news. Thank you. Started with WMD, 9/11, War in the Middle East, Patriot Act, 4G, 5G, FOIA, not C, K, data centers, global control. Started before that. You got to think of the Iraq War or the Gulf War in 91. You got to think of what was going on in Lebanon in the early 80s. Iran-Contra. Started before that. You got to think about the coup in Iran in 79 and 53 or 52, whatever year it was. Started before that. Go way back. Keep going. Saw the Mariana von Zeller Trafficked episode on assassins. And that's precisely how they feel. Have a burger and never think about their victim. Yes. That's the problem. Those people are not limited to just like young killers in poverty-stricken areas. It's human nature. You got rich people that feel the same way. Get your stuff done. Best of luck with it all. See you then. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I need to do some things. B-Dog needs a vacation. You deserve it. Be a long week without you, though. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'll come back. Data centers are not voted for. The state overrules it. Look into Saline, Michigan. Hit me up if you need resource. I'm local. They're paid off and forced. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier about the local referenda. If I may use that term. Whether it's a referenda or some county commission vote, whatever they're doing to put these moratoriums on the building, I just don't know that those are going to hold up. Take a week off. You deserve it. We'll be here, my B. Salt River Project is the primary electric company in Arizona. It's not a small thing or just a local election. Oh. Well, I mean, it's a utility election, normally an afterthought. I looked at the past turnout. They were tiny. For something so important, you guys don't seem to care about it. Nobody votes in those elections. Except this last time. Take 2 weeks, Barrett. We'll be here. Maybe one member show talking about Antarctica or something fun. Saturn would be fun. The direction we're going in is frightening. Look into the American Recovery Association, American Recovery Party. Some people interesting saw this coming and were trying to do something about it. Yeah, I don't know that you can do it from outside. I think you got to do it from within the parties. We'll miss you, Baron. Have a nice productive break. It doesn't sound like much of a break, though. Oh, it'll be a break. Not a break during the week. My son has hand, foot, mouth. I looked down at my husband's shoes in church the other day. Dress fans, enjoy your time away. Your husband sounds amazing. Perhaps in your absence, it's time to go max with my Salem deep dive. Yes, let me know how it goes out, how it turns out. Take your time. Take your time off. You deserve it because of you, Candace, and Julian Dory. A few others. Fox News is no longer on. Gray was a good choice for the members. Always go max my B. Thanks for all the great intel. Doing my best. Baron, what are your thoughts on TPUSA not supporting Massey? Charlie's favorite, very telling. What must they be thinking? Well, they're thinking TPUSA 2.0, which is everything Charlie was against. That's pretty much obvious at this point, I think. I mean, it seems to be now, if Charlie was for it, they're against it. It's just almost across the board. Tell me one political issue he was for that they're not for, that they're now for. It's almost none. Tell me one he was against that they're now still against. Almost none. I can't think of it. Not any of the controversial ones. I mean, the easy ones like abortion or whatever, that's fine. But I'm talking about like topical. Take care of your family. It should always be God, family, and then business. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you and give you peace. Number 6. Thank you. A great show, Sir Baron. First time catching it live. Always listen the next day. My first super chat. Pray for me and my husband to have a baby. I love praying for life. Babies are wonderful. Have as many as you can. Absolutely will pray for you, McMilla, 3631, if that is your real name. But the Lord knows. Helma, LP, portable laser, AR-15 style rifle with backpack battery, silently, invisibly to destroy optical sensors, melt plastic, fry circuit boards on a static ground targets, enemy equipment, and surveillance drones from France. Christ is king indeed. From France, you say? Why don't the French people use the whole words? How could you possibly learn that language? I have a kid learning French right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. They don't say the whole word. They just say like the first half and then stop. And they go, oh. Like I'll read this whole comment in French. Love you, mom. Go get rich, huh? Ready for war? Peace be with you and your family. See you. Always. I hope. I mean, they just don't say the whole word. They just kind of like grunt. If you speak French, I don't apologize. That's how you guys sound. I love you too, man. I love you too, man. I will get recharged. I will marinate, and Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I, Baron, is a proud Kentuckian. I felt obligated to correct your pronunciation of Louisville. Respectfully, you said Louisville. We say Louisville. It's pet peeve around these parts. Love. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I say it like 14 different ways. It just depends on the context. It's the truth. It depends on the context. Sometimes it's Louisville. Sometimes it's Louisville. Sometimes it's Louisville. Sometimes it's Louisville. Depends on the context. I get it. Enjoy your time off, although you'll be sorely missed. Congratulations on being a granddad. I have 3 and never felt such love. Christ is king. Christ is king indeed. Congrats, granddad. Congrats. Look at Shawnee. Look at Shawnee dropping membos, raining down like the dewfall on members' heads, new members, that now you can go watch the Dre Dossier episode from Friday. It was fantastic. I mean, there's a reason everyone on the internet's raving about it. It's fantastic. Fiji won't remove heavy metals from your body. Oh. Have I been scammed? It tastes delicious, though. It's like a soft water. Connecticut K5 RO drinking water system removes metals, PFAS. I believe you. I believe every word you just said. But it's delicious. I got my mugs delivered, Baron, in the UK. Love them. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. Keep going and go, Max. It's a great mug. Oh, please. It's a great mug. Baron, wow, I never considered how quickly the AI race data center construction started directly after Charlie's exit. Now I'm even more concerned. How do I prep my 3-year-old and 1-year-old baby's futures? Christ is king indeed. Well, they got a long time to figure it out. I mean, who knows what the world's going to look like in 15 years? So just stay plugged in. And by plugged in, I mean like tuned into the right people. How'd you find Daisy to help? Missed how she came in. She was a tipster. She'd emailed a few tips. Most of the emails I get aren't what I would classify as tips. Most of them are suggestions. I don't always have time for the suggestions is probably the best way to put it. Hers were actual tips, like, look at this. This is incredible. And it's not like, look at this research someone else did and it's been on X for 2 weeks that everyone's seen. It was like, here's proprietary information no one else on earth has that I was able to uncover and am willing to share it with you if you want to use it. And I was like, wow. And so I got in touch with her and we started, sharing information, and she kind of worked with me for a few weeks. And I was like, I have to pay you. Like, I can't just rely on you. If I don't pay you, I can't fire you. And that's always been kind of my thought on a volunteer. If I don't pay you, I can't fire you. So I need to be able to rely on you. If you're going to help me and we're going to do this together, I need help. I need to be able to rely on you. And like, I can't get mad at you for disappearing for a week if you're a volunteer. I mean, you don't owe me anything. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. And so I was like, let's come to an agreement where I pay you. And then you'll continue helping me put shows together and research, and you got to have somebody. And she's been great. She's been great. A regular check includes a confession and a communion. I don't know what that means. That must have been in response to something I said, but I apologize for not recognizing it. Someone going on a break deserves a gift from Slinky's mom and dad. Much love, Baron. Stay safe and rest. It's not much, but retirement. We'll miss and appreciate you and know it's mutual. Dearest HH, what does that mean? God bless you and your family. And Jesus is king. Yes. Slinky, tell your parents thank you. That was very kind of them. Very kind of them. Yeah, that's what it sounds like when Slinky says, Mr. Barron says thank you. King Baron, we understand you need a break. Take care of yourself, but no, you will be missed. You have changed our life for the better. The wife and I are making major changes and moving to Tennessee to be on God's time. Well, you're going to find Central Time Zone's amazing. You're going to find you love it here. In fact, when people move here, they inevitably, everybody says, you're going to love it here. And it sounds like a cult, but then you'll find out you do love it here. Like the greatest place in the world. A little gray in the winter. Depending on where you're coming from, that might take some getting used to, but if you're used to gray winters, it'll be fine. You're going to love it here. Thank you, Amber. And Baron, I thought long and hard about this. The exponential growth of GPU hardware doesn't make sense for long-term utility warehouse space use. I think this is something far beyond AI. Well, that scares me. I would watch a show on that. So if you did like 20 minutes on that, I would watch it. That government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth. When was this type of government last alive? Well, in the USA, if ever. $1850s, maybe? Being generous? 1850. I just found a soulmate in you. I'm already taken. Also, I don't understand what relationship means, but there's still hope to be a good autistic Catholic. Oh, you also don't understand. Oh, so that's why we're soulmates. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I don't know what it means either. People have told me that my whole life, and I don't get it. But I don't think it's a detriment. I don't think it's a requirement. I don't think it's a detriment. Great minds think alike. I took off this week to prepare for the family yard sale. I'll be pricing everything. Pray for those in the family who thought they were getting rich next weekend. Christ is king indeed. You took a week off to prepare for a yard sale? Your yard sales are more impressive than the ones I've had. I took about an hour off, and I just put everything at the end of the driveway and said, take it. Cheaper than hiring a junk company to come remove it all. Let's make a deal, data centers. You pay 30% more in water and electricity than anyone in 50 miles. You employ 90% American humans, not foreigners or computer bots. And no one in Congress owns your stock. You want to live by me now? No, they don't. They'll go somewhere else. The Dankster. Great podcast. Great, brilliant, young podcast. The fact that Utah has Meta capturing regulation and government completely shows that they do not care at all about citizens. They do what they want. We have no say. Look it up. MIDAUT gov.gov. Love you, my B. Love you, my B. Yes, the Dankster. See, that's good intel there. That's why he's called Dankster Intel. Thank you. Please enjoy your time off. You deserve every minute. We will be patiently waiting for you to return. In the meantime, we will be listening to the Dre Membo Show to retain the high IQ. Jesus loves you too. Yeah, thank you. I think I probably will in the next couple of days release another member show. I'm trying to think of one. That was maybe like the Matt Trigger Smart one. I think that would be a good one to release. So I may release that one in the near future. If we rewatch episodes while you're recharging, will it help your channel? Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. God bless your family and take care next week. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, views always help. Yeah, it keeps it in the algorithm. Fellow Catholic, love the show. Question on why do you do a show on Sundays when it takes all day to prep? Wondering how decision made in relation to the idea of resting on Sundays. No offense intended. The Sabbath, man wasn't made for the Sabbath, Sabbath for the man. The church never changed the Sabbath from Saturday, and I don't do a show on Saturday. Sunday is a day of worship, but Saturday remains the Sabbath. Now, you can transfer, I guess, the Sabbath. It's kind of the way I understand Catholic teaching on it. I might be wrong. Someone's going to email me and blast a hole in my logic here. But, you know, the idea is to get a day of rest, not a particular day of rest. And I do a pretty good job resting on Saturdays. I don't do much. I do the member show on Friday that ends early. And then by Friday evening, I'm pretty much resting. And then all day Saturday. I'll do stuff with the family, baseball games, parties, stuff like that. But that's rest to me. It's not like blowing and going. That's not the mental grind of prepping for a show. Ohio here. Gen Z, Mill, we are very anti-data centers. Cbus has been working to get them out. They want to steal our water. Learn more about U.S. water issues, war. Listen to Lake Bridges and Boats podcast while Barron's away. Christ is King indeed. I will not be listening to any podcast this week. I will not be watching any news. I will not be responding to any texts or emails. So that's part of the deal, right? Between now and I would say at least Thursday or whenever I get off this show, next 30 minutes or so, maybe how much do we have? Maybe an hour. Between now and then, I'm going to be out of touch. Y'all aren't going to be able to reach me. The vacation starts the moment the show ends. Well, I got a little edit to do in post, but after that, the vacation starts and I'm out of touch. That is the male or one in Spanish. Things turned for Tucker in June when he bought out all investors in Tucker Carlson Network, namely 1789 Capital, Don Jr., followed by going max at Charlie's request. They knew then no one controlled Tucker anymore. I had no idea they were even invested in Tucker. News to me. We will miss you this week, but I do have some members show I'm still missing. May God continue to bless you and your family. Spend time with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. There's no better way. I could not agree more with that last part. Thank you for your integrity. So refreshing. Please look into the Kalergi plan. Matthew North Daco, his sudden self-removal after a Trump vid, I believe, is why CK was removed all the way from dystopian. Is that Australia? Christ is king. Christ is king. Mate. Indeed, mate. What? Someone told me I knew another. Crikey. Someone told me I knew some more Australian than I thought. I know a lot more than I'm 2 hours behind. Just wanted to use my freebie to say I'm eternally grateful to you for the amazing work you do. You're an extremely valuable voice in the space. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Baron, been with since Ian pointed out Google Trends. Can't wait to move to Tennessee from Wisconsin. Data center talks because of the Great Lakes. Say no, neighbors. Christ is king indeed. Even if you're not moving for the data centers, winter in Wisconsin is brutal. We don't have that problem. We have very mild winters. About a week of bad winter every year. You get like months of bad winter up there. Please pray for me to find a good partner, get married, and have kids. So stuck on this matter. By the way, you are so inspiring and funny. Thank you, Petro Metis. Let's all pray for Petro Metis to find the one, settle down, and be fruitful and multiply. Absolutely, we'll pray for that. That's a wonderful prayer request. Thank you. A recharge fee. Thank you. Thank you. I will be recharging. That's my goal. Perhaps Pierre Falcone would be building along the destroyed Sharm Park and Rafa coastline. Yeah, could. I didn't even consider that, guys. That's right up his alley, though. Been trying to catch him on pods. Summer in Alaska has started. Busy. Thanks for all you do, Baron. Love from your best Alaska supporter. May God bless you. Christ is king indeed. I'm going to look up the weather in Juneau, Alaska. I'm just going to pick a random city. I don't know many. I only know like 3. So Juneau, Alaska. Well, I will be the one to determine if summer has started. Juneau, Alaska. Ma'am, summer has not started. It is 40 and drizzling in Juneau, Alaska. The overnight, it feels like 32. That's not, summer has not started. Plenty of room in Middle Tennessee for you here as well. It's in the 80s here. Come enjoy the sunshine. Get out of that drizzle. But then you'll still my best Alaska support. Nurse here. Play the long game. Lots of infrastructure done during C-19 while we were locked up at home. Noticed while driving to work in the middle of the night. Interesting. What we do here without you for a week. Recharge, rest, educate yourself. Be ready to listen when we get back. I'll allow it. Have a great week. I'll allow it. I like that. Have a great week off. But if Erika does something crazy, you have to at least get on X. No. There'll be no. I don't care what she does. Putting the phone away, putting the computer away, recharging. Remember the Chips and Science Act of 2022. So data centers plus more semiconductor manufacturing in these United States. Yeah, I do remember that. Semiconductor manufacturing also uses a considerable amount of water and quartz. Just went outside and yelled at the squirrels. No bearing for a week. LOL. Yeah, that's been known to happen. Just leave the old men on walkers out of it, and we'll call it a day. Words I love hearing our humble hosts say: Bongina, China, Fort Huachuca, Estonia, quick quack. I'm sure there are plenty more. Take as much time as you need. We'll be here when you come back. I might run by the quick quack. There's no quick quacks around here, but if there was, I'd run by one. That's as much work as I'm willing to do this week. The Sabbath week, as they say. Actually, it's not. I got some stuff to accomplish. I'm from Utah. There are talks of building a pipeline from the Bay Area to the Great Salt Lake to save it. Salt Lake City becomes uninhabitable if it dries up. See, I was unaware of this. I did not know that the Great Salt Lake contributed anything other than natural beauty, and it is beautiful. I didn't know. And the Bonneville Salt Flats, I knew that existed. There's some time trials out there. Gifted 5 membos. There's 5 more people that will be able to watch the Dre Dossier show from Friday. Tyler said here during his 625 Miranda when talking about Doug Terry. I pointed that out. Yeah, correct. DT's office is in Washington County. That's correct. That's correct. Meaning the 625 Miranda was on 9/11 in Washington County. Sent an email with more detail. You don't have to. I've done like 5 shows on it. Like, I think I'm the one that invented that theory. But I appreciate it. Thank you for checking in. Wow, Scott. Unbelievable. Thank you. Honored to be among your top 10 fans. I do enjoy your show. I do enjoy your comment. Thank you. You're a master at keeping the cadence perfect. I sent you a super chat earlier. There's a connection between salt locating near nuclear waste. Nuclear is the only viable option for data centers. See my previous super chat, and I sent you an email with details. Scott, I'll check that out. Did it time out or something? Did you send it before the show started? It timed out. That happens sometimes if you send it before the show started. But wow, thank you. And I will check out that email. I had no idea about the salt and nuclear. I wonder what that connection is. I'm not a nuclear scientist. I'll be the first to admit it. Take care of you and your family, B. We'll be here when you come back. We love our humble host. Well, I love my humble commenter. Keeping you and my family in my prayers. Thank you. We could use it. You're about to be a granddad. Soak the moments in. That's kind of what we're doing here. Soaking it in. Thank you. Is there any other single person with such pivotal influence over so many agendas and people than Charlie? If so, who? Enjoy the recharge break. I don't know. Not someone who could be as big of a problem for them. I mean, the hold he held over young people was pretty remarkable. I'm behind. Just saw you be out this week. You deserve a vacation. We appreciate you. Enjoy. Thank you. It will never be cheaper to buy solar than now. Okay. Duly noted. We don't need a break from you, Baron, but glad you are taking time to take care of things. Charlie, AI, Iran, data centers, and ballrooms. Yep. Do right anyway. You're a great example for all. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, genuinely. King Baron, I'm wanting advice on how to be positive about our kids' future. I pray for strength and protection for them, but I worry if I'm no longer here. Will my kids, your kids, be okay? It's been keeping me up at night. Let me tell you something. This is reality. This is temporary home. Like, we want to make the best of it while we're here. We want to be good neighbors. We want to alleviate suffering every way we can. And part of that is, if we think these industries are causing suffering, then to lobby against them, push back, show up to public hearings, do our part. But this is not home. Jesus said the birds of the air have homes, the foxes have homes. How much more would he take care of you? We've got a home. It's not here. In fact, when he sent out his disciples, he said, just take your coat. That's all. Take your coat and your sandals. So the Lord will provide. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, and even if it's like, God is present in a North Korean prison where people were born into slavery and subjection. He's their God too. People have been born into and died in terrible situations, and they've never known a lick of freedom. They've never known a lick of joy like we have. But there's joy in that, in their circumstance. This isn't home. I worry about it too. I'm not making light of it, certainly. I worry about it as well for my children. But I've given up anxiety. I'm giving up worry. So when I say I worry about it, I mean I worry in the sense that, like, what are they going to do? And obviously, to the extent we can try to alleviate suffering, we should try to do that. But just pray for them. Pray for their souls. The best thing you can do. Pray for their souls. Keep them close to God. Kevin O'Leary is Canadian. His wife was found not guilty of killing 2 people while drunk and driving a boat. Appreciate all you do, Baron. Keep us all on track. Enjoy the time off. He's Canadian. I knew there was something about that guy. I'm kidding, my Canuck friends. I'm kidding. Does the government no longer worry about EMPs, et cetera? Oh, that's a great question, because an EMP would destroy these data centers. It's almost as if we've been lied to our whole lives. Or maybe they're building Faraday cages around them. Who knows? I remember on 1/21/25 when Trump announced $500 billion. Yeah, I covered that in the show. Transhumanism, incoming evil. Yeah, that worries me. That worries me. Beatles Tavistock conspiracy theory alleges that the Beatles were a manufactured social experiment created by the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations to brainwash youth, promote counterculture. Well, they did a good job, because I love the Beatles. I think they're great. I think they're great. We listen to the Beatles a lot around the house. So if so, well done, Tavistock. Well done. Now, I do believe that happens. Like Bob Dylan, I think, is a total intel op. I had to do an opening on that. The guy was discovered. He was like a backup harmonica player or something on some random album or show or something. And someone's like, that's the guy. No. That's an op. That's an op. You can't even hear him. He just mumbles. AI equal. And there's a whole podcast. I can't remember the name of the guy who did the podcast on the song Winds of Change by Scorpion, that 80s rock ballad, maybe late 80s, 87, 89, somewhere in there. There's a song called Winds of Change by a band called Scorpion. They were a rock band. This was a real soft ballad. And it had to do with the fall of the Soviet Union. The Winds of Change. And there's this great podcast where it just basically says this is a CIA op. And they confront the people about it. And they're like, we're not going to talk about it. So we know it happens. We know it happens. AI equals tyranny. CIA equals mind control. NASA equals deception on steroid. Government equals divide and conquer. A boomer that has been a conspiracy analyst since 1982. What else is left? Build a community of like minds. Thanks, Baron. Yes, that's our hope is in community. Our hope is in community. Thank you for asking the difficult questions and putting the pieces together. High IQ for sure. Christ is king indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Your Charlie Kirk angle makes me wonder about transnational capital. Their role in the Iran war, New World Order, and data centers is sus. Let me look. Transnational capital. All right. I'll check it out. I'll check it out next week, because after I log off today, we're done. Hoping our numbers in the UK are okay. Hard to get accurate reporting. It seems ironic that patriots are being crushed by the globalists. Whose numbers? You say our numbers. Who are our? I don't like pronouns. I hate them because they're unclear. There's no antecedent for me to go look at. G, my B. I'm still hung on edges, EK. Can't shake the images. Stay secure. Oh, and boomers already know. Grandpa, Christ is king indeed. Thank you, Ivan. Ivan's fantastic. Thank you. Baron, you make me and my husband smile every show. We love you and sport our RBP gray t-shirts all over Oklahoma City. Go Max. Christ is king indeed. And Jesus loves you as well. Chastity Phillips. Thanks for the support. I appreciate that. Charlie Kirk with Michael Knowles said AI is a demon. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. This next show could be really good. Let me look this up. Yeah, let me look that up. Oh, okay. I see it. I didn't email you. Thank you. You deserve a long vacation during your time off. You have a chance to watch Tucker's interview with Owen Benjamin. Outstanding insights. I've already watched it. It was fantastic. I watched it while I changed the floodlights in my yard, while I cleaned up the garage a little bit. Yeah, I already watched it. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Are you monetized today? No commercials. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. If not, it's too late now. I think it is. Let me go look. Yeah, I mean, it's on normal speed. Yeah. Happens sometimes. Take advantage of it, soak it in, and thank the Lord. I'm kidding, Lord. I'm kidding. My son works in the industry for small modular nuclear power sources for data centers. I didn't even know that was a thing. Hello from Kentucky. You and Candace bring together Protestants and Catholics, Republicans, Dems, left, right-handed folk, high IQ hillbillies, and city folks. Go Max. That's why they don't like her. Gen X here, in defense of previous generations, they were being manipulated and had no Barron, Candace, Ian, etc. to do the deep dives that expose the roots of all the corruption. They didn't know better. I agree with that. Barron, Chautauqua County, New York is being looked at for data center and an old golf course on Lake Erie. Community's pushing back on it. That would be just in line with what they've done to that area. They've devastated it already. Great show as always. Watched last night's MMA. That was fun. We had a good time. Yes, sir. Got shaken mini lecture loud and clear. Oh, got finger shaken mini lecture. I was good. No, I couldn't see what that was. 51-year-old. Work hard 60-hour week. Don't feel a bit guilty about what I have. A new GMC truck bought this weekend. Congrats. Cash. They're not working the jobs that pay good money. Husband is a tanker driver. Makes more than me as RN. You shouldn't feel guilty about what you have. I mean, you work for it. Don't feel guilty at all about it. That wasn't my message. If that's how you took it, I apologize. I'll take responsibility for poorly communicating. Orem has a huge underground data center across the interstate from Timpanogos Hospital called the NSA Data Center. It's huge. That's correct. Show me your friends. I'll show you your future. I look at your Canadian friends. It's not good. We're being mean to the Canadians now. Everglades Prison Detention Camp equals first AI data center, maybe, in my opinion. Who knows? Great show. And Christ is King indeed. I don't think it was the first. Is there even a data center there? Hey, Baron, congrats on the grandchild to come. Do you think some of these data centers could be prisons for those of us who don't comply with government's wishes? Maybe those who won't deny Christ? Maybe not physical prisons as in where they'll take you. But imagine if the data center was able to control you anyway, cut you off for your money and your car and everything else. Kind of a prison, right? Kim Overton on JD tomorrow. Left ICU nursing to save COVID patients before hospitalization. Nurse Freedom advocates for trapped patients. Info we need. Oh, that's the Jimmy Dore show. Yeah, that's correct. They're building huge solar plants in Huntsville, Texas. Duly noted. I work for a software company that recently laid off many of our developers and replaced with AI. AI doesn't know the industry and makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, but it's almost free. That's the problem. And then they just keep a few people to clean up the mistakes here and there. It's bad. I'd like to know the location of EK and AK when the infamous call to the doctor. Same plane, different locations. The timeline demands answers. Christ is King. We've been asking. They won't answer. Maybe I missed it on one of the shows, but I swear you mentioned you were going to be a grandfather soon. Congrats if this is true. Yeah, that's true. Granddad. EK and CK owns a spot in Florida, possibly data center. Christ is King indeed. No, I think there's spots on the coast in the upscale area. Hello, Baron. Why not build data centers in the ocean? China do. Love from Norway. That's a great question. I don't know. Maybe hurricanes? I don't know. I live in Camp Verde. That means green, guys. Green. And they're pushing back. They're pushing to put in a data center. Thank you for explaining. I will be going to meetings against it. We will get to the truth together. Well, you do you. I'm just giving you the facts. God bless you. But I would be. 4 AI-related stocks represent 40% of the S&P 500. NVIDIA is a $3.3 trillion corporation. Yes, that's true. You'd be surprised how many micro and mini data centers are already operating right in your local community. I know. Imagine once they go macro. $2 make you holla while you're off. Please enjoy Christ is King. Indeed. Julie, you think $2 is going to make me holla? No, I'm just kidding. No, what was the movie that was in? Oh gosh. What movie was that? It was in the 80s. Was that Full Metal Jacket, maybe? Platoon? What was that? It was one of those 80s war movies. B, IQ 199. I broke WMD Cypher, episode 72. Best to you and fam. Oh, wow. Did you really? Did you email me about it? Or did you do a show on it or something? I'd like to read it. I'd like to see that. Thank you. Please make sure I find that. Hi, Baron. You are reminding me what early sobriety feels like. A whole week without your magnificent show. I have the jitters already. But you'll make it through. You made it through that. You'll make it through the show. I've never used AI and don't plan on it. Garlic breath is good. Cares. Thank you. Thank you. I'm a regulatory. Now, see, here's the thing. I do use some AI tools just because the natural search is okay. Like I'll ask, hey, send me a link to that show that said this. And maybe I don't know the exact words, so I would have trouble searching it on Google. But I get close enough that the AI sort of interprets what I'm trying to say and sends me the link. I don't mind that. It does, it's here. I'm a regulatory permitting specialist, have been for 25 years. Trump's executive orders have stripped all regulatory agencies regarding environmental compliance. Look into the AI Action Plan 2025. We looked at it on this show. Excited for upcoming show. Please look at DAF lawsuit. Google it. WS accused of locking plaintiff out of $21 million account during the same time as structuring the first Salem deal. January 25. BP says he led that deal then. Now WS says they planned it 2 years. Can I be honest? I have no idea what you're talking. I mean, I know roughly there was some litigation around Salem, but and it may be for spacing limitations, but all the abbreviations, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know who BP and WS are and all that. DAF. I'll try to check it out based on what you said. Baron, we are here for the Ramble. You're not just a pretty face. Not even a pretty face. Yeah. I was going to work all that into like a full opening, and I thought, just ramble. You'll figure it. My almost 2-year-old IQ, my 2-year-old daughter does the same. My almost 2-year-old daughter does the cutest wiggle dance to your new intro. Thank you for the laughs, love, and high IQ content. Thank you. I appreciate that. She sounds brilliant. Not sure how estate law works in Utah. Maybe if CK's will disputes Erika's inheritance to his estate, including his corporations, etc., could that explain why she needed a fancy lawyer to be appointed as a victim representative? No. His estate is in Arizona, not Utah. And it has nothing to do with the criminal victim representative statute in Utah. Did you know CK's surgeon's middle name is DuPont? P.S. I actually work at that hospital. I did know that. Again, I think I was the first one to report that months ago. You may be new, and I'm not chastising you. But I did talk about Lee DuPont Trotter a long time ago. So thank you. Actually work at that hospital. Wow. It'd be interesting, Joy, if you could email me and tell me you work at that hospital, because I'd have some questions I'd love to answer. I sent you an email with a clip on A, EK, and BN talking about the DC. I don't know what all that means. Data center, BN, Blake Neff. Andrew Colvett, Blake Neff, talking about that. Okay. Blue Lioness also recommends Confessions by St. Augustine. Yeah, Confessions is great. I have it on that bookshelf, but I can't get over there right now because I'm trapped. But I'm looking at it. Thank you. All this energy spent on gaslighting us and may have even killed CK to stop us from all knowing why. If there's nothing we can do to fight back, what are they so afraid of? What can we do? Oh, there is. That's the problem. We can slow it down, and that's what they're afraid of. Costing them billions, maybe trillions of dollars. So, yeah, they absolutely can be slowed down. Some of them even stopped, and that's what they're afraid of. Rich folks can't go into poor neighborhoods, but Nick Shirley can go interview gangs with no problem. Faking gay. Come on. People who pass away don't know they have passed. We're left to deal with it. It's the same with stupid people. Love, fellow high IQ jury. My first grandchild graduating high school this week. Christ is king indeed. Congratulations. That's a milestone as a grandparent. There's no doubt about it. My B. When the apostles asked how to go to heaven, Jesus told his apostles, you're saved by His grace by faith, not works, lest any man should boast. Christ is King. Amen. Amen indeed. There's no other way to be saved than by grace. Period. End of story. Revisit E, standing up by JD. Seems personal. Oh, standing up JD. Oh. At Georgia. Laughed when you said like the do fall the other day. It's how I know they're doing Eucharistic prayer too in Mass. Yes. My favorite since it's the shortest of the Eucharistic prayers. Well, that's not right. Christ is King indeed. But yes, the do fall. Send your spirit down like the dew fall. Baron, are you going to knock doors for Massey? Just kidding. Enjoy your break. I am not, but that sounds like fun. There's a lot of cool podcasters and content creators. James Lee's up there. Ryan Matt is up there. There's a lot of cool people up there. But no, that's not where I'm headed. Oh man, I just bought a box of Kai's protein bars. I don't know what those are. And there's a list of our mission on package 4 and number 5. Providing resources to Haiti, supporting at-risk youth. My first thought is there must be a TPUSA connection. Yeah, I would wonder. Is there evidence that the Democrats are going to oppose data centers? I understand not wanting to support politicians who support data centers, but are the Dems putting up a fight against them? I don't think so. This is a uniparty objective. If it's been right in front of you the entire time, why EF went to Israel to find a husband, look at her hands, neck, swollen fingers. They own the Diamond District, and she loves jewelry. Enjoy time off. Oh. Thoughts on data centers being the control centers for our new 15-minute cities, prisons? Yeah, could be. I mean, I don't think they're up to any good with them. I can assure you that. Enjoy your time off. You deserve it. We already missed you. Past an enormous data center en route to off-roading in Green Bay. Thought it's against my character. I gave it the one-digit salute. Yes. Use the winch twice. Good, Edge. That means you were off-roading well. If you don't use the winch, did you even go off-road? Oh, good job. And nice little silent one-finger protest. Shawnee's back. TPUSA 2.0 still supports EK's heartthrob, JD Vance. That's a deal breaker for me. Do they, though? Do they? Because you remember how I played a video of Rob McCoy bashing JD Vance. He's like, please, not JD Vance or something like that. And then Erika did show up at AmFest and said, we're going to get JD elected as the next president. She did say that. But then she stood him up, and he does appear to be on the outs. So I haven't seen any like real vociferous support for JD Vance in quite some time from them. And then they had him scheduled for another deal, remember, and they canceled it. They had him scheduled for another program. I think it was in Iowa or something, and they canceled it. Remember that. Christ is King indeed. Thank you for your brilliance. Enjoy your time off. Thank you. I appreciate that. I wasn't suggesting you spend vacay listening. Please rest and keep investing in your family. You inspire us all. Christ is King indeed. Absolutely. Thank you. I am going to enjoy the time off. Sorry if you've been asked before, but you heard of Rick Cutler. Yes. Also, you're freaking awesome. Thanks for being real. Enjoy the time off. Of course, I've heard of Palm Gun Ricky. I don't think he shot anyone with a palm gun, for the record, but of course, I've heard of Rick Cutler. I did a whole show on Rick Cutler, didn't I? Dre, I get these questions. I'm like, why do I even do podcasts? Who's watching these? Obviously, not the commenters. Dre was great. Thanks. Don't rule out corporate involvement. TPUSA has much to gain at the least. Guilty knowledge. Edge. I don't rule it out. And Dre was great. They're building data centers in South Kakalaki. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. That's home of Lindsey Graham. The one that Charlie Kirk opposed and said should be primaried and thrown out of the Republican Party, and that now TPUSA supports him. That same Lindsey Graham. Imagine a rich substance distributor from Colombia or Mexico using their money and relationships to replace Thomas Massey, ever so gently sitting in a seat. Anyone noticing is the problem. We're not mad enough. Even worse, imagine someone from Iran or China or Russia spending their money to get involved that heavily in a congressional race. People would be beside themselves, panicked. Have you seen the show Paradise? Maybe subtle hint? I have not. I know nothing about it. Congratulations on first grandbaby. I was blessed with my first grandchild on March 20th. Congratulations, Granny. It's amazing. She's perfect. She was born in Nash Vegas. I've been there recently. Amazing, Leanne. Congratulations. Do you go by grandma or granny or grandmama or grandma? Maybe mamaw? Meemaw? This week would be a great time to catch up on past episodes. It would be. But and it sounds like from the comments, there are a lot of past episode catching up in that needs to be done. I swear, people email me about the AES thing. I'm like, yeah, I've done that show. Rick Cutler. Gosh, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, we did all the Clock Tower X. Like a month or so ago, the Clock Tower X thing went crazy. And people are like, have you heard of this? And I'm like, yeah, I did 2 shows on it. Yeah, back in January. But Baron, here in South Carolina, our electric costs skyrocket between 3 and 6 p.m. from 8 cents per kilowatt to $8. What? Absolutely absurd. I can't prove it, but I feel like we are somehow funding the building of data centers. What do you know about this? I've never heard of that. It sounds criminal. Everyone involved in that should be taken to prison immediately. Are you kidding me? And I don't say that jokingly. The energy vote in Arizona, TP Action's candidate won Prez and VP. Green folks won the other spots. Voters split the vote. People concerned regarding data centers. Yeah, they lost the majority of the board. That's the point. I don't care who won those 2 inconsequential positions. They were going to support for the board, and they lost because they're inept. Thorium salt. What data center used modular nuclear reactors? Okay. We love our humble mascot, Miss Tilly. She keeps making noise in the background. She is dying to be famous. Like I can't even describe how dying she is. Tells me all the time how famous she is. Tilly, you've been on the podcast in weeks, maybe months. South Carolina is experiencing a major boom in data center construction with several multi-billion-dollar hyperscale and AI computing campuses currently in development across the state. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good thing with $8 a kilowatt hour power. Paul teaches in Romans the hearts of some of those people were hardened for eternity. Curious if we're currently dealing with that contingent. Oh, I have to go back and read that. I missed that part. Thank you, Edge. I'll check it out. Baron, when is the next court hearing? Mine? Never. I don't go to court. The next one's May 19th. That would be Tuesday. I think that will be an in-person appearance for Tyler, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe virtual, though. Need EMP hardening for your data center? The France phase can help with that. Good call, Manda B. Need nuclear? Phil Lyman might have thoughts. Hadn't considered all this. I'm OH. When pipelines came, people took buyout or were sued by government, and zero because of emissions eminent domain. How can we stop data center? I don't know. Like, I've got something in my head, but I'm not going to say it out loud. With Israel plus D. Junior Trump investing media via Salem, is it possible they're setting up and looking for a mouthpiece to push? And CK didn't want to be it. And the anti-war, he outlived his usefulness. Yeah, it's possible. Certainly. January 21, 1991 is when Winds of Change came. I'm a rock chick. Love my Scorpions. My friend Mickey D from Texas is the drummer for them now. That's an amazing stat. So 1991. So the wall fell in November of 91, November 9th of 91. Is that right? Let me look here. What date did Berlin? Look, before I say it, I think I said November 9th, 91. Come down. Oh, November 9th, 89. Wow, I was way off. So I guess that was the Winds of Change. You should listen to the podcast. I wish I could remember which one, but if you search it up, like Winds of Change, Scorpion, CIA podcast, you'll find it. And it's fantastic. I want to say it was on one of the major podcast services or podcast shows. last 5 years, maybe 6. It's really good, and it points out how the song was needed to inspire the next generation to sort of take over and not go back into it's just listen to it. I'll butcher it. I said I was going to do an opening on it, and I might. Margaret Byfield, American Stewards of Liberty, protecting property rights in Texas. Good. Duly noted. Good to know. Date of birth, 1960, borderline boomer. Most of us went to college, grad school, had 2 jobs, and worked very hard. IQs were higher, Lovax protocol, Tylenol. I am not knocking our boomer friends. I'm just saying they left us with a mess of a country now we have to deal with. But we're not doing any better. I'm Gen X. We're not doing any better. The millennials, they're not doing any better either. So we're all in this together, old man, old girl, old man. Let's lock arms. We were at that graduation. Our son, digital media grad for UCF's College of Arts and Humanities and Nicholson School of Communication. The boos were much louder in person. She didn't know her audience. She doesn't know young people. Who did? He's dead. That's the problem. But Aaron, did you see who Trump took with him to China? Of course. It's a long, crazy list of a lot of heads of tech. Guy in China explains so much. Check email. I don't need to check email. I know I followed that, but thank you. Someone should look into cover the $50 billion in rural health transformation dollars. Most money going into data infrastructure, health information exchange, etc. Yeah. That sounds about right. You were in a live pod with 7 others yesterday, 6 others. Let's see if I can do them all off the top of my head. Jesse on fire, Danks, Bays, Valhalla, Trigger Smart, and Mr. Let Go. Yeah, it was great. We had a great time. What if they used AI to plan the takedown of Charlie Kirk? Could Google Trends correspond to data center locations? Christ is king indeed. Let me know. I'll look it up too. But yeah, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna have to look all this stuff up next week. I'm off as soon as I get done here. Google Trends, AI data center, Charlie Kirk. There we go. That'll get me there. But thank you. Just realized if you're correct on data centers, what an insult to CK to have a ballroom named for him. The ultimate insult. The tent to the data center is going to be called the Charlie Kirk tent. Remember Trump described it as a tent? Charlie Kirk died under a tent? Oh, no. These demons. What a great comment. Hi, Baron. I'm from Sardinia. If you visit if you can. You'll love it. Have you considered that the video from Taylor R., where he visibly limps, it was perhaps taken after the jump from the roof because the shadow? No, I've covered this about 37 times by commenters. I don't blame you for not watching every reaction to every comment I've ever done, but seriously, like 37 times I've answered this. And I'll answer it again because I'm not upset about it. It's a good comment. It's a good thought. No, he's walking towards the school. It was taken based on the shadow before 12. With shadow length and angle, and I've done it at 12:30 and on, and the shadow just will not match. So it had to be done before 12 o'clock. That's him limping in, or somebody limping in. King Baron, enjoy your Sabbath, but tearing toilet paper is considered work. So please tear all the toilet paper you'll need beforehand. Shabbat shalom. I'm not Jewish. I don't know any other way to say that. I'm Catholic. I'm not Jewish. I don't follow the Sabbath, but I do believe God's plan was pretty good in giving people a rest day each week. I think that's a pretty good plan. I don't think you have to put rules around it. I don't think you have to. Oh my gosh. I was watching a video of a guy making coffee on Saturday. That ain't what God intended, guys. I'm not going to talk. I get so upset. I rest. I rest. I would love to see people like you in political office. Would you ever consider politics? No. No. You want to see somebody destroy their ability to get anything accomplished? Send them into politics. You become one out of 435 congressmen. And you get treated like Massey and Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene. You get marginalized, pushed away, voted out of office, campaigned against, trashed. You have no ability to do anything. Imagine Candace. Okay, Candace reaches across all platforms, 8 million people a day? 6 million? I don't know. Maybe more. Some days, maybe 10 million. Imagine Tucker across all platforms. Every time he puts out a show, 10 million, more, 15 million people, 20 million. Now imagine if he went into Congress. I'm not comparing myself to them, by the way. But imagine if Tucker went into Congress. And instead of being able to speak and reach 10 to 20 million people on a wide variety of topics, he's going to donor dinners, like cutting it up with some guy who works for Blue Cross Blue Shield and another guy for Boeing. And he's like, are you going to donate to my campaign or not? Oh, okay, you are. Oh, I need to vote this way. Okay. Oh, I don't need to talk about that. Okay. I mean, no, I'm not doing it. No way. I got too loud of a mouth. I'd be voted out the first day. I'd be censured by the Congress and sent out. They'd be like, you're done. We're done with you. This show runs from a data center. StreamYard on YouTube's algorithm is data AI driven. Never think you don't use AI already. Oh, I get that. I mean, I totally understand that. I'm just talking about, but that was happening 10 years ago that we had all this. StreamYard's been around forever. YouTube's been running podcasts since 2014, live streaming when they started them. So this is before the AI data center boom, which tells me that these new data centers are not designed for StreamYard and YouTube. I went to my high schoolers end of year event, but Ivan, I appreciate the correction. I went to my high schoolers end of year event tonight. It was striking watching how brilliant and full of hope the kids are. They really don't know yet how cruel this world can be. It's heartbreaking to see. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're full of hope because they're humans, you know, that's our natural disposition. JD is outcast because privately doesn't support Iran war. We don't know what else he doesn't support. Helma from France, not me. French Foreign Legion connection. Found looking to solve the chain physics. LF connection. I'm in Milwaukee with terrible weather. Yes, Milwaukee always has terrible weather. And generally terrible politics. My idea to save your shows for my 8-hour trip to see my military Thursday is now shot. My son's growth on his jaw that made him not deployable was not cancerous. Congratulations. That's excellent news. Thank you for all the prayers. Well, Claudette, if you've not caught up on everything else, you can go back and watch some shows you missed or watch something else or rewatch. The JD and TPUSA connection is still going strong. They moved the Iowa JD Vance TPUSA meeting to Washington, D.C. and flew the ISU TPUSA group there instead. They flew that group there, but notice no TPUSA representative showed up. Like no one from the Phoenix headquarters showed up. OMG, been so busy today, I forgot about my B. My B. We'll watch you from the beginning. Have an amazing week. My B. I'll do it. JD on the outs with EK since Usha's pregnancy news. Ooh. Bad news bears there. I need to check my bill. I haven't seen that 8 kilowatt hour in the upstate. Oh, good. Thank your lucky stars. I can't help but see the connection to Lori Franzway. Her patent for tech metrics is classified as INTCL 70647 706. The code for AI 47 has to do with knowledge processing. EK meeting CK was no accident. IMO. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. Oh, please. Let me take some notes out of that. Tech metrics. Franzway. 70647 706 AI 47. What do you say? Knowledge processing. Thank you. Thank you. Can't we take the islands from the rich under eminent domain, especially Jeff's Island? Surrounded by H2O. No. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know how that works over in the islands. Hi, B. My biggest fear with this investigation is you have powerful culprits who know people are closing in. So much time to destroy evidence. Are there precedents where convictions came later under similar circumstances? I don't know. That's a good question. Good question. I have the same fear. My biggest fear is that our week has come to a close. Or our time together today has come to a close, and that'll do it for me for the next several days. Guys, I appreciate your support. I always do. Pray for me on our time off that I get a little rest and relaxation and get everything accomplished I need to get done. Pray for your fellow community members here who've been asking for prayers. We could all use them. And I do want to appreciate before I jump off for an extended break. I do want to appreciate you guys. You guys have made this washed up radio host's day. I mean, I can't even describe what it feels like to be able to do this again for a living and have fun with it and have such a great community that's coalescing around each other and supporting each other and praying for each other and celebrating our victories and improving our lives. And just trying to get better every day. I'm not as good now as I want to be a month from now, but I'm a lot better than I was a month ago. I mean, I'd like to keep going in that direction. And I hope you guys join me on that. You're not going to be perfect tomorrow, but we can be better tomorrow than we were today. And when we look back a month, a year, 2 years, 10 years from now, we're going to be a lot better people than we were even today. So appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it. I do remind you because it's true and everyone needs to hear it, even if you don't believe it. Always remember, Jesus loves you dearly, each and every one of you. Nobody outside of the love of the Lord. And I thank you for your support. I genuinely do. I'll be back probably Friday. I had to guess Friday. If not Friday, almost certainly Sunday. So enjoy your week. I'll be unplugged. Phone's going on emergency mode only, where only my emergency family can reach me. Will not be opening the laptop, will not be opening the iPads and tablets and all the stuff we feel like is required for us on a daily basis. No. Doop. Unplugging for a few days, guys. So if you need me, I'll see you next weekend. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, a wonderful evening, wonderful morning if you're over there in Australia. And I'll talk to you guys soon. I do love each and every one of you. I hope you know that. It's true.